Underdog Fantasy is the fastest-growing fantasy app and easiest place to play fantasy sports. Just jump on UnderdogFantasy.com or download the app, draft your team, and that's it. And if drafts aren't your thing, they also have a pick'em game where you can win 20 times your money in a single night. Use promo code RADIO, and Underdog will double your first deposit when you sign up with up to $100 in bonus cash. Deposit $100, get $100 free. That's promo code RADIO. Terms and conditions apply.
You made it. Checked out of office to check into the sweet views of this place where the kids aren't asking for the Wi-Fi.
Mom, can we go to the pool?
And when you're with Amex, it's not if it's going to happen, but when. American Express. Don't live life without it.
This is Jordan Grace, and you're listening to the Social Suplex Podcast Network.
BWB, this is One Nation Radio. You better get it right. Rich Latta, James Boyd came to give them life. The Blackest Wrestling Podcast has come to kick all ass and drop it 6 feet if they kicking trash. Word, let me welcome y'all to something different. And if you dig it, man, you should let some friends listen. We be getting it in, this on the regular dude. Ravish and flow, but this shit rude. See, James don't rap, so I had to break it down. The whole network, man, we coming for the crown. Raps in the columns, I keep them both covered. Making the beats too, so the listeners can bump it. Hit us with the rating, yeah, I'm saying it's a 5. Before you hit it, talk, bob your head side to side. It's One Nation Radio, and this is the beginning. It's Rich, and I'm here with James. It's time to listen to One Nation.
We got to unleash the power of the pyramid.
This is Mike Sempervive from WrestlingObserver.com. Check me out on Wrestling Observer Live every day. And also check out your boys, Rich and James, on One Nation Radio.
This is Kenny Omega. We're listening to One Nation Radio. Check it out, guys. These guys know what's up. Big Kenny Omega fans, that's all that counts to me. Goodbye and good night. Hey.
What's going on, y'all? Welcome to One Nation Radio. I'm James Boyd. Here, man. I have Rich Latta. What's going on, man?
What's going on, man? I'm chilling here. It's Tuesday night, end of a long weekend. I went to a concert last night, so that's why there was no One Nation Radio last night with Catherine. And we went and saw a band she likes called Churches. We were at Janice, and in St. Pete, there was a catastrophic rainstorm that happened during the show. So yes, I got rained on all last night. Like Ashanti, singing in the video, I was getting rained on heavily. So, it was, it ended up being a fun time though. It got kind of cold at a certain point, but I did my thing there. But, before that, it was like Double or Nothing, Stardom Flashing Champions, long weekend. But
I don't,
James.
Yeah.
What? Jeff Jarrett wins again.
All right, so you got to give me
the agenda is back.
You got to give me the particulars because, I did not watch Double or Nothing until or finish it until a half hour ago. I managed to stay unspoiled on all of it, but I only saw something about Jeff Jarrett in passing over the weekend. So what happened? Because I also didn't watch Stardom live. I watched that on 12 hours after it aired. So what the hell happened?
So, good old Double J, we know he left WWE last summer. I was like, no, don't worry about that. Jeff Jarrett will be back. He always will land back on top. And what did Double J do? We have an award on this show called the Jeff Jarrett Finesser of the Year. James, we may have to break the rule and put Double J on the ballot this year. This man, Jeff Jarrett, has returned to WWE in an executive position. And the new position that he has sounds very similar to the one Triple H used to have. He has been hired as WWE's new senior vice president of live events. This is a high-level executive role on the live event side of the business. He announced it on his podcast. Some people are speculating that this is, the road to being an executive in WWE is starting a podcast with Conrad Thompson because, you look at Bruce Pritchard and then Jeff Jarrett it's like those are the two kind of right-hand men right now. And James, I just want to, and with Nick Khan clearing out Stephanie McMahon, like Double J wins again. The prophecy that Double J will run the WWE is closer than ever. It's never been this good. He may take a back step because we know how it goes with Double J. Sometimes he sacrifices the short-term W or L for the long-term W. And the long-term W is with, like, it's over the hill, it's up the horizon, it's all that. So I just wanted to point out to the audience that Jeff Jarrett wins again.
Yeah, I just read something that's fucking wild about somebody's opinion on a wrestler, but anyway, yeah. So Jeff Jarrett.
And he's also gonna be on Austin's Broken Skull sessions on Friday.
Neat. I wouldn't say that Jeff Jarrett is back in my life because, like, I don't watch WWE, but the part where, like, he's back, like, as a player and.
One more thing, the best thing of it all. He went to GCW, took their money, and beat they fucking stars, and then didn't do a job back.
Yeah, he also was at Triple Mania, said a bunch of racist shit like usual, and then dipped too. That happened as well.
Good with the bad.
Yeah. So. I don't know what. I mean, but it's the same thing as Pritchard. Like, I don't know what these people track record other than they've had a job of something approaching what they're getting hired for before, therefore they get it. And it's like, it's gonna be, obviously it's never gonna happen because he's filthy fucking rich, but it's like if something were to ever happen to AEW, like Tony Khan would get called to be a booker or something one day. Like, and like, I remember thinking, I actually thought to myself, like, you know, when Cody lost creative control and the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega lost creative control, however long that was, beginning of 2020, I think, right? Like, my thought was, damn. So, like, that, I guess that means, like, the idea that, you know, one day one of them will be a part of AEW's executive, you know, thing is kind of out the window because it's like only some people ever got that job, so that's why they keep hiring the same people. It's like, it's just like, you know, the head coaching thing, except like worse because it's even less of a limited field of people that have real experience at a place that, you know, WWE deemed good enough to get that kind of responsibility laid upon them. Like, bro, like, I don't know, man. Whatever. Like, good for him, I guess.
We are so close, James. We are so close to Vince Russo finally coming home.
At this point, I wonder what happened. I wonder why he hasn't, you know, why he hasn't gotten called over like the last decade plus. Like, what has he done that has gotten him, that's been so, you know, crazy that's like beyond WWE? And don't get me wrong, like, he's made some of the worst pro wrestling of all time in America, in this country. But at the same time, like, so has Vince McMahon.
He can't be that worse. Look, I'll say this. If they get Russo back, they got me for a show. Like,
are you serious? You want to watch that? You want to watch that shit?
Show. Vince Russo always give you a great chapter one, a great opening, and then after that, you know, you can just throw that out. But
I think I'm far enough in my wrestling journey to where, like, I don't want to watch no show where there's very little wrestling on it. Fuck that. That's dumb. Y'all are here to watch soap operas? Watch soap operas.
Yeah.
Young and the Rust is still going.
I just figure with Jarrett being there, I figure Russo's not far behind. So I don't know if it'll happen, but I'm hoping it does. If not for my sake, the people that watch WWE, just to see them embrace and wrap their arms around Vince Russo, I would love to see it.
General Hospital. Bold and Beautiful.
Yes.
Bring back As the World Turns. Bring back Guiding Light. Anyway, we can move on. I guess
let's get to the real.
Yeah.
AEW Double or Nothing 4. So I know they don't number these events, but
I thought I didn't know you were going to number it. I thought you were going to say 4.5 goddamn hours. But dude, like, I put this on and I was like, I didn't realize, but I was like, yo, this shit feels way longer than 4 hours. And look up, and lo and behold, it was over 4 hours. And it's like, my general thoughts was like, looking back at it, is like, well, then why the hell do you put all this bullshit on in the first half of the show if you go over time for it as well? Like, I've heard some theories. I don't know how real they are, but like, as far as like worried about a Game 7 East Conference Finals game, I don't know. What was that about?
So there were two things. There was that, and Tony talked about it in his presser, which is an all-time, if you guys are bored this week and you want to watch just some fascinating shit, watch the Tony Khan press room where he's literally
the
talking
MJF stuff. I haven't even heard
anything.
about that part.
He didn't address it in the scrum.
Okay.
But he talked about almost everything else, like in his life, damn near, and watching wrestling. I was, and people were like on Twitter crying, why is this going so long? I was like, this is fascinating. You telling me if Vince McMahon got on the mic for 2 hours unhinged in front of the media, just lobbing him questions, and either A, he's answering the questions, or not, he's completely going off into some other shit, you wouldn't want to watch that? It was fascinating television, or, it was on YouTube or whatever.
Okay.
But, there was that stuff with the Game 7 stuff he was worried about, because he was trying to pump some extra buys or whatever. He seems to think that there were people that were gonna, tell their friend to go buy it or whatever. But he also bought an additional hour of time for Martha Hart in preparation for her, because he told her essentially, like, go as long as you want. We don't care.
It felt like she was going as long as she wanted to.
I didn't feel like she went that long. Like, because
Rich, I was on a time crunch. My clock was moving fast to yours. I was like, Martha, this, and look, this is what I'll say about Martha, right? When she was dancing in and dancing out, I was happy to see her, and she was having a blast. But I didn't know where she was going, at like the pace she was going and where she was headed and stuff, and like. The thing with like both belts and also a trophy, and then neither.
I think they should have had someone out there kind of.
I didn't know what was going on.
I thought they should have had someone kind of helping her, like undo the belts and help her, just hand her the belt so she can present it. But she was playing up the belts like however long she was taking to get it. In a way, I thought she was trying to shoot an angle with Britt Baker the way it took her so long to get the belt to Britt. I was like, is Britt gonna say, "Hey, give me my fucking belt"? What the fuck's going on? But I don't mean this in a bad way. It was just like, they had the extra time so she could do whatever you want to. But like, I was just like, hey, but yeah, like, especially after that section of the show, I was like, oh, okay, this is not what I was expecting for AEW quarterly pay-per-view. So in prep with that extra hour, like, there were additional matches added, which added to the length of the show.
Gotcha.
TK feels financially it was a sound decision. I think this is the biggest Double or Nothing ever so far.
Yeah, they were saying that in the middle of in this last third of the show, they were saying like, no more, we've had more buys than ever before, and so I'm interested to see what that number is, because I can't remember what Double or Nothing has done historically. Obviously, aside from like doing over 100,000 every time, but. Like, I wonder what that number is, because like, and then when I heard that, I was like, okay, so it's like, you think about what would it have to be? It would have to be like Punk is challenging for the title for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
Like, maybe there's something else I'm not accounting for, but that probably has to be the thing.
I'd have to look into it, but that's probably it. But overall thoughts on the show, like, I thought that this was like. That was a very up and down show.
It's a tale of two shows.
Literally. It was like in the first half, like there was like some, like the Death Triangle match was pretty good. I felt bad for the Young Bucks having to like go to 0.25 speed to have the Hardys like keep up. And if there's a reason why the Young Bucks are doing a job for the Hardys in 2022, I would have to have it explained to me. I am not far enough on my journey to understand the decision there. It seems like, the Bucks are in a down cycle period, so they'll just do a bunch of losses right now, 4 consecutive for these guys. But then there were just like matches that just, I think, were just flat out bad and lifeless in the middle. I thought Jay and Anna Jay, they were trying, and then I think Anna Jay was not up to her normal. I think their last match they had was way better than this one. Looking at the rest of the card here.
I don't remember the match, but I know they had that match.
Yeah. I think the finals were whiffs. And there's no way around it. Like, I think Samoa Joe's been kind of like a revelation, excuse me, of late, of just like very solid TV wrestler. Nothing like that's going absolutely crazy, but like there's like been quality there. There's been him against Suzuki. There's been him, week to week, him and Kyle O'Reilly, and stuff like that. We get here and it's just nothing. Like I think Adam Cole.
When we get to it, I can tell you why. When we get to it, I can tell you why.
Yeah, like I think Cole didn't come to play here. Britt Baker and Ruby Soho, I think, was a struggle at the beginning. I thought it kind of turned around towards the end of the match, but it wasn't enough.
That crowd was so nice. So nice. Like, it reminded me of, like, the beginning of AEW, when there'd be matches that struggle and the crowd just would be quiet for a little bit and then realize they were quiet and they would try to rally behind it. Like, they were being real nice. Like, if, like, there are matches that have happened in AEW or in WWE's women division this year that, like, are basically that same match where the crowd just were like, wrap it the fuck up. That match wasn't better than that Piper Niven Becky Lynch match from, I think, Royal Rumble. That match was not better than that. It just went long.
The 6-man tag was a mess. Just all up and down. We'll go through it match by match, but the second half of the show I thought was excellent. Like, it was like they were basically trying to rescue this first half, like that was drowning essentially.
And while they did a good job, like from basically Darby and O'Reilly on, like, even by the time we got to the main event, it felt like the crowd had still not rallied. It felt like it never recovered from how bad the first half of the show was. The first 2 hours were. And I was like, it's getting better, it's getting better, it's getting better. But, like, you hear that crowd when it starts and then you, like, get to the main event, like, even the cheers for Punk and Hangman coming out both times were, like, smaller pops than you were expecting given what we got in the opening pop of the show. It was like, okay, that's because they've been beaten to death in the first half.
And then I guess we can start at the beginning. Wardlow and MJF. So obviously there was like a weekend of drama surrounding MJF, and I think that it was funny because I think coming into the match, like, it kind of helped it, and then by the time the match was happening and it was all over with, it was like that wasn't worth of like all the headache of this thing, and I think it kind of zapped it, of the juice that it had behind it. I figured I knew what was going on. I knew he was going to powerbomb him 10 times, like, immediately. This was more of an elongated angle than a match. It did work. It did get over big with the crowd. I would have loved to have seen what these guys could produce in a real, like, kind of wrestling match here. Some people were thinking this is some type of write-off for MJF. I think it's a big... Obviously, his entire character and 3 years of mistreatment for Wardlow has kind of led to this moment. So he does need to go away for a little bit, maybe show up in, like, I don't know, 3 weeks or whatever, a month after getting brutalized or whatever, and then recover. He can't just show up like Wednesday or whatever, like, and be like, oh yeah, whatever. But this was an angle. This wasn't really a match. Wardlow's over. But the drama this weekend was like, it was all over the place. I don't even really know what to say about it.
So have we fully gotten like what do you call it? Have we got a full accounting of what the fuck happened? Like, do we still not know?
There was stuff about a plane ticket being purchased. There was obviously he didn't get on said plane. A lot of people thought he was going to leave Wardlow hanging here.
Right.
There's a meeting that happened with Tony Khan, I believe today, with MJF in Vegas, if I'm not mistaken. It's possible you gotta string it all together, like through SRS and different stuff, but like a lot of people are saying, hey, there's some type of work to do it. I firmly believe this is not a work in the traditional sense. Like, they're not trying to work us into paying more money to see them or anything like that. But are there elements of stuff going on and, MJF may take advantage of it? Yes, I feel like that is happening. But there's definitely an issue there because Wade Keller dropped something that kind of like corroborates like some of my thoughts on the whole situation, like as far as like people coming in and what MJF was being paid and who he's slotted behind, like and a lot of this stuff is like legacy talent, like Mark Henry, Christian, like people like Malachi Black, like making way more money than MJF at this point. MJF did get some type of small raise, like I think in the beginning of this past year, but he originally started on a starter contract. Obviously, he outgrew that, but I think the deal is that MJF was upset that Tony Khan hasn't come to him, either didn't go to him fast enough to renegotiate, to try to make it right with him sooner. Like, if you're going to treat everyone else like this, I want the big raise too. And I can feel MJF on that, but I'm like, if he's going to give it to you now, go ahead and get it, buddy. Like, it's, but maybe this is a situation where, and then you start thinking about MJF. He always, he grew up wanting to be in the WWF. He's a Northeast guy. We know how that stuff works sometimes. But I think you got to piece some of this through Wade Keller together, through SRS. I don't think Dave really was plugged in on this one. But yeah, it's all over the place. But so this match was not really a match. And for me, it took a lot out of the show.
Yep, it was the number 2 most important match on the show, and it got the finish right. I just wanted a match, and I got something that presents itself as a match, but it was as you mentioned, it was like Angle more. It's like if you rate it, it's like, it's a 2-star match, whatever. It's average thing. Angle, right person won, crowd loved it, whatever else. Like, but it wasn't some great wrestling match. So that got us off the start and got the crowd, it got everyone up high. And the one thing that I noticed is like people are really mad. Like the crowd, like they weren't just like typical boo MJF. Like they want him fucking gone. They sound like they want him gone.
Yeah. Like it was like,
not like, you showed up. I'll show up to, when they said the shit with CM Punk about like, I'll show up to, WWE and all that stuff. It's like, no, like leave. Like that's the kind of heat he got. He didn't get some, I'm booing you because I want Wardlow with. It was like, I want you, like, I'm tired of your bullshit.
I think that's a sentiment that's out here. I'm not tired of MJF, so I
don't care. I don't care. Like if he wants to get paid, he wants to get paid more. Who am I to begrudge him? I would say that like if it were about him in the money or whatever, it does. Like when I saw people compare the Sasha Banks and Naomi stuff with him, and I was like, how is Sasha Banks and Naomi like as bad as what MJF did? Like what? Like you have an angle, you're set up to go and do it or whatever else, and then at the 11th hour you're like fucking around about pulling out or whatever else. Like this isn't like some, like this is beyond advertised. This is some like I leave an hour before the show and then they're gonna pretend that the shit's gonna be advertised or whatever else, and then it's gonna set up a program that like I didn't agree to. Like this is some shit where it's like, what the fuck were y'all building to for like over a year or almost 2 years, whatever it was. Like, and now you're gonna leave this dude hanging because you want to try to seemingly hang, like, do what
people thought some Ultimate Warrior shit was happening.
All of my left to be is speculating whatever the fuck they were doing. Like, I don't know what he was doing, but like the fucking around thing and then it gets out is like, okay, all right, man, whatever. Like, I don't know what the problem is. It's beyond me. Like all I know is like, in this true Stephen A. Smith fashion, I am not down with people that don't want to go to work. You don't want to show up to work, so.
I don't think there was anything that was changed about the presentation. MJ's PR says he doesn't believe it the way it was presented. Like that MJF didn't want to show up and do that. I think that was going to be the plan, whether MJF was happy or not. Yeah, this wasn't some type of retaliation or anything like that.
I don't think it was a situation where he didn't want to do business. Like, as far as he didn't want to lose, I think it was a situation where he was like, all right, I'm getting into regular speculation. I'm getting into it right now. But lose to CM Punk, lose the Wardlow. It's going to take a while for him to get this hot ever again in a program this hot ever again. It may take months.
And look at these two programs that he's done in a row.
Yeah.
Where it's just like
this is the peak. This is the peak of his quote unquote. This is the peak of it right now. He's going to be on the back end of it now, and he's not going to be quote unquote as appealing. Like his leverage play. If this was in fact leverage play to get a new deal or get a pay raise, like he goes into it knowing that like after this match, I am not going to have the leverage I had before. Like regardless of what he's trying to do, like I don't think it was about him, not wanting to do the job. Like I mean, he wouldn't have done this if it was a situation. But his situation is the way they've been talking about him and money and the pay, whatever else. He understands like after this match, the price of the brick is going down, not up, for at least a few months.
Like people thought it was like some Roddy Piper shit. It was like Ultimate Warrior. And I don't know. It's like Jeff Jarrett. It's like man. Like it almost reminds you of kind of like what the traditional wrestling business was like rather than this kind of inflated utopia that WWE's enjoyed with their basically like people being expendable and all the money already being made. Mm-hmm. Like we didn't have these issues like, for years and years in wrestling.
Yeah.
I think, and MJF is, I think
on a major league level at least.
Yeah. Like I think he's, Rush will show up and not want to do a job in a minute. And speaking of Rush, we'll get to him later. But as far as MJF, like, I think you have to exalt, it's 2 more years before anything's going to happen. And he's signed. And I think if he's going to show up, like I was saying before, treat it like baseball. Like maybe it's like, hey, you're going to get the real value out of him now. Let someone else pay for the other years. And then if he wants to go, fine. Like, this like, if he wants to stay, cool. Like, so,
at this point, aside from like CM Punk, is anybody not expendable? Or not only that, let me pull that back. I don't want to say, I don't mean the word expendable, but it's like nobody is a absolute necessity on the roster aside from CM Punk right now. Just because, and that's only because of what he brings as a draw. Like, is he the best wrestler in the company? Absolutely not. As far as in ring, but you get my point. It's like he moves their business in a way that like nobody else really does. Like they've had pay-per-views without Cody. They've had pay-per-views without Omega. They've had pay-per-views without Moxley, and their numbers still do about the same with or without them. They're at that point where like the only person that seemingly like that I've yet to see like if he just is out the picture, would the numbers plummet from where they are right now would be Punk.
Yeah, they we'll get to the tag team match next. The Hardys versus Young Bucks. Jeff Hardy's boot was undone half the match. I like the Bucks gear. This, I don't know, man. It didn't hit for me. Like I thought that the Bucks would get a little bit more to work with. I think the Bucks, being as great as they are, held this together. To the level it did. I think I only gave it like 3.5, if I'm not mistaken.
That's what I gave it.
And it was like, yeah.
And it took a while for them to get to 3.5 too.
Yeah. Like, and it was like, the Bucks like damn near breaking their backs to do this. As I mentioned before, you have to explain to me why the Young Bucks are doing a job for the Hardys. The Hardys look like they need to, let it go. Like,
that. Have you looked at their, like, people have been talking about Adam Cole's, his quarter hour ratings. No, look at the Hardys' quarter hour ratings. They're not doing shit compared to what you expect them to do.
Mm-hmm.
Like when people are talking about like, well, what was it? The Jeff Hardy Adam Cole match or whatever else, and the people point to that as like, look at this bad number for Adam Cole. No, go look at the Hardy since Jeff Hardy came back, and look at or not came back, but came to AEW, and look at like how underwhelming they've been like as far as moving numbers or whatever else, like people thought they were compared to how they've been presented as well. Like, I don't know what the situation is, whatever. Like, might just be an edge situation for AEW.
Yeah, they you know, it seems like they're going to try to get some more juice out of this. It looks like Jeff is hurt. They did pull him from the match that was advertised on Double or Nothing. Like, they pulled him and Cole because I believe Cole came down with some type of shoulder injury, if I'm not mistaken. But Hardy's banged up from the match against Darby. And, you know, them being out the way for a while wouldn't be such a bad thing. So, you know, this is a part of this changing of the guard, I think, in AEW. I think a lot of this show represented that. I haven't really got too much into narrative talk thus far, but like, there's a lot of like stuff being sacrificed to ensure that, hey, these people that are these newer signings are getting paid, so they're getting pushed accordingly to match that stuff. And it's like, like I question the Hardys going over like this. I question the continued Adam Cole push at this point. I'm starting to question, you know, a lot of things. Like, we'll get to it, but up next,
let me give you my thoughts on the match. I thought the Young Bucks basically like wrestled a match that was not a Young Bucks match that you stereotypically think of. Like, they went out there and they slowed it down and they told a story, and they would have got a good attaboy from Pritchard and Vince and Triple H and whoever the fuck else backstage in Gorilla. But this crowd sat on their fucking hands, were bored for a good chunk of this match until Jeff started doing swantons on a goddamn person on top of steel stairs. Like, I think they're cooked. Not just Matt, I think both of them are cooked. Like, Matt was in there to start the match up, and like the only thing they could do
Matt was actually kind of all right.
Matt was only in there for short periods of time, so he couldn't get tired. Yeah. Once he got tired, like if he had been there and got tired, it probably would have been more like what we've seen of him in recent memory. But like, they put a lot of that on Jeff, and then they started doing like it felt like I was watching a not good WWE tag match. And WWE normally has good tag matches.
Yeah.
For a big stretch. And then they started doing kicking out of stuff, and then the crowd kept going crazy for the kickouts because, you know, you do a fucking swanton bomb on a person that's on the steel steps. Like, if you don't give it up for that, then goddamn, you know what I'm saying?
Crazy thing on this match, Nick took the pin, so I was totally caught off guard here.
Yeah, that too. I peeped that. I actually went back and was like, wait, did Nick just say that pin?
Yeah. So I was like, that's interesting. But,
you know, like, because I write the notes, I write out in show notes, like, when I watch a match, like, who took a pin, what was the finish, and who got pinned, and who did the pinning, whatever else. And I was like, I typed out Jeff Hardy pins Matt, or Jeff Hardy finish Nick Jackson? No. Why not? Nick Jackson with a swanton bomb. Go figure.
Yeah. I like the full speed Young Bucks. I felt bad for them on this night. So,
yeah, like, if they ever want to do this again, they're gonna need the ladder.
I don't even think that'll help.
It would. Like, the Jeff Darby match from a few weeks ago was awesome. Put a ladder there. Jeff Hardy is a whole star better with a ladder. I never really thought. I meant right now. I don't mean his whole career. Maybe that is true his whole career. But I meant like right now. He's a whole star better with a ladder.
It's his whole career. Yes.
I didn't mean it that way, but the way you were acting, like, as if I was like saying some
prophecy.
Shit. Yeah, I didn't mean it in that way.
Astute observation.
I didn't mean it in that way. No, you finna have Sierra mad at me. I did not mean it that way, Sierra. I'm sorry.
Hey man, she got to come around.
No, she doesn't.
Look at it. TBS title match. Jay Cargill and Anna Jay. I thought Anna Jay was pretty not on point in this match. Jade gets the win. This was, as T.I. would say, substandard conditions.
Look, man. I watched with pre-show, like a 4 hour and 40 minute all women's pay-per-view on Saturday night, and at no point, at any point in any of the 10 matches on that card was anything close to as bad as this match. Like, I see the cage match rating. I think it's a bit hyperbolic. I think it's like some.
It says 3.62. Yeah, I think they're.
I think it's like. I think it's just
much.
I think it's like a. I think it might be just an average match or whatever else, but it's in a spot where like nobody wanted the match there. You go into the match. You're going to the match. You're looking at the card and looking at the time. You're like, why? Why is it even here? This would have been better served being on on TV, on Dynamite or Rampage, whatever. It had a lot going against it. That being said, once you start doing once you bring the heels out, you bring the baddies out, and and Mark Sterling, and then you bring Stokely, and then like they're literally at on top rope for the finish, and then like Anna sees Stokely before the crowd even sees Stokely and reacts to it, and she's like, "What the fuck?" And then he's walking down, and he doesn't play into it; it's just a distraction. And it was like it was a mess, and like. They like you mentioned, they've had better matches. I don't remember the match they've had before, but I imagine it was better because I don't think Jade's ever had a match this bad before. But whatever. I mean, it was weird, but they'll get better next time, I hope, because boy, this was not. No.
Yeah. You mentioned Stokely, Hathaway debuted, former Malcolm Bivens. They immediately align him with Jade.
Yes.
Kind of Smart Mark seems to be out of the picture. I think Smart Mark did a great job with Jade personally. But him being here, I think that's a great move. He's obviously very talented as a talker and digital content producer, of course. I can't wait to see what he brings, and that he already put that one thing out. I hadn't watched the video, and I didn't know you were unspoiled like on that thing when I sent it in the group or whatever. Like I just put it there to watch later.
Well, it didn't spoil me. It's like I didn't know he was going to show up. I just knew that a shoe was going to drop at some point.
Yeah, so like all the shills told me this dude had no interest in wrestling. This guy was done with wrestling.
Really?
Why did they always do this, James? They always say such and such is too good for wrestling, has no interest in wrestling, has all this stuff in wrestling when like these are passionate people that are really good at this shit, and then like you think they don't want to wrestle all of a sudden just because they don't want to be in WWE. Why do they keep doing this? Stop this.
Yeah, another thing,
immediately.
Another part about it is like, why do you keep saying that like this person is done with wrestling when it's like they're in WWE? WWE doesn't even call it wrestling; they call it sports entertainment. Stop being offended.
Yeah. And then Athena comes out also. She comes out with Statlander, kind of even odds. So Athena's kind of jumping in. Statlander's face to face with Red Velvet. Athena's face to face with Jade. Jade is reacting with joy on her face when Athena comes through the curtain. And there was somebody else that was face to face with Kiera Hogan. I couldn't remember. It might have been Anna Jay. But yeah, so MJ does PR. Serena Deeb needs Smart Mark. You could definitely do that. Athena's here. What are your expectations with Athena? The water level seems to be going up a little bit here.
Very happy to see her. I think she's one of the best women's wrestlers in the country. And she, even when she came back October of 2020 to when she stopped doing whatever she until she ended up getting let go. But like while Triple H is still in charge, like she's kept showing it like she's still damn good at this. So like from the matches with Raquel Gonzalez, it points to her teaming with Shotzi. And Shotzi was always a roller coaster, and as far as her performance. So I thought happy to see her. Really happy to see her.
Yeah, I think she'll
obviously they got who they got, but like They just set her up for a defense with Thunder Rosa and then go from there. And then figure out where she settles in after that. But on the horizon, that needs to be something in the next, few months.
Pull to Rossi, throw her in there immediately, have her lose, and then figure it out. 6-man tag, House of Black against Death Triangle. Thought this was really good. I didn't think it was as good as the match. I had Eric Rowan in it, but this was still good.
Really?
The pre-show match before Revolution smokes this match.
The finish the finish will do that. I thought this match was great. It's in the low fours for me. It's obviously was taken down with the finish because it's like they did the Julia Hart thing where, is she going to do it or is she not going to do it? And then obviously with Phoenix's injury, it got dragged out longer and longer and longer. And the longer it went, our patient, I can't speak for anyone's collective or as a fan base, collective patience for it, but mine was like short. And when they did the one angle where she's like, I don't know, I'm here, but I don't know if I want to do it. I was like, all right. 86 that means you're not going to do it, you're going to move on. And then she finally shows up and she's the cute little blonde girl in the evil cult or whatever. I was like, okay, fine, you finally did it. It took you how many months to finally get there, but you finally did it. She's had that eye patch on since don't tell me
6 months.
Don't tell me since fucking New York or what's it called?
After that, yeah.
September, October is when this happened? Jesus.
Something like that.
Yeah, they finally did it.
Everybody can have their little goofy storyline they want to see so bad. I have zero interest.
I didn't know people actually wanted to see this because for me it's like...
It's something they can't stop talking about.
She's going to be in the team and then what? What is she going to do besides be a heater?
Exactly.
Is she going to be a heater?
Exactly.
Is she going to be like the, let's say the Anna Jay equivalent of House of Black? How does that work? Okay.
I know she's not really a great wrestler at this moment. So, you guys know my thoughts on this feud and who it's for, or this storyline development and who it's for. So, but as far as the match, lots of flips and dives and slams. And good action between lots of good workers here. So they got the memo in the first half of the show.
Yeah, Jesus, they're the only shining spot in the first 2 hours of the show. They really were. The finish is the finish or whatever else, but I want a rematch and I want a real thing and because of that, it'll be a better match than what we got, but I still thought it was a great match.
Owen Hart men's tournament final. Adam Cole defeats Samoa Joe in the NXT offer match.
This would have been way better in NXT.
They should have kept it in NXT. I didn't want to see this shit. It stunk. I loved Adam Cole's gear. It was Owen Hart, King of the Ring 94. Aside from that, I got nothing else on this match positive to say.
So, Adam Cole wrestled this fucking match Samoa Joe showed up in AEW and basically came out just wrestling I don't want to say a hyper brawling, but you get the idea. It just came out and just had slugfest. So, Adam Cole, being the big brain wrestler he is, said, well, I can't do that with him because it's so much of a size difference and it won't be believable. So I got to work. So we'll start. So he has the shoulder injury. He starts working over shoulder over and over and over or whatever else and doing this. And it in ways it reminded me of a far inferior version of the In Your House match between Gargano and Keith Lee, where it's look, man, I like some of the submission stuff or whatever else and working over body parts and doing all the cool things, whatever else. But it's a lot of small guy is slowing down the pace versus the biggest guy, which is literally hustling backwards. Unless you could tell you got to tell a dynamic story with it. They didn't do that. and the match was what it was. And then at the end, when all people want to see is Joe win, out comes Bobby Fish. Bobby Fish interferes twice. He gets knocked off the stage twice. And then Cole beats him with like a bunch of basement super kicks and then the knee and gets to win. I'm like, how many fucking times do you have to watch an Adam Cole match, have interference in it, and he wins? Like, this
is an Alexa Bliss match.
I mean, as far as quality, it kind of was. But I just, me watching this, I'm just like, yo, like, I do not want to see Adam Cole, like, basically do NXT Adam Cole in AEW. And, like, don't get me wrong, like, Adam Cole in NXT had consistently way better matches than this. But, like, the result is, at the end, he wins, and he only wins by cheating. Like, I understand MJF has that thing that makes it work, but MJF wrestles once a month, if that. Adam Cole's out here every fucking week. And unless he's wrestling like a young boy, like, he beats everybody the same fucking way by low blows, cheating, distraction, blah, 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 blah. Like, it's reached a point to me where it's like, it's not necessarily like the thing where, like, you have to have have a crisis or whatever else, where it's like, yo, the alarming rate of time limit draws in Stardom is getting way too out of pocket. Like, but because one person who's like, yo, look at what we were as far as distraction finishes and that kind of shit in general AEW, and then look at what it is since Adam Cole showed up, and it's like, this shit is like clearly changed. And I don't know why they keep accommodating this thing. And I get the part where it's like, well, he's a heel, he should give the babyface an out. But it's like, if it keeps happening so goddamn much, it don't feel like an out no more. Now, does it?
Feel like a crutch.
Yeah.
And then, like, his wrestling style has been, like, not the most dynamic in the world. Like, I wouldn't consider him, like, you know, on the level of the main eventers. Previously.
Yeah. I mean, but then again, like, you know, Punk's been more consistent than him since Revolution.
Yeah, and you know, if I line up like the 5 best like workers or 10 best workers in the company, like, I don't think I'm putting Cole in there
Not from what he's done since Revolution. Absolutely not. No.
Yeah, it's been like, and I don't know what it is, but it's just not. Like, it's flat, it's stale.
Like, it is wild because, like, this is a dude that was fucking doing this in WWE. And now that he has more control over what the fuck he can do, he's gotten worse. See, like, I don't say he's lost, like, the monster took his powers, but you get my point. Is like, his output has become a lot worse. Like, this dude in 2019 was fucking awesome. He's undoubtedly still the same guy that has the same talents, but, like, he's not being utilized in that same way, and obviously he was on top, blah, 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 blah. But, like, you can make use of, like, hey, you're a upper mid-card, lower main event guy right now, and we can use you here, here, and here. Like, I think they've done, they've gotten to a weird place with him really quickly. And I think it started with that, you know, the Orange Cassidy shit.
And I think with him, like I said, I always get in a weird place with Adam Cole because, like, I feel like people were either very harshly critical of him, or I think they're giving him the ultimate pass on shit. But all I'm gonna say is there are several wrestlers who would not be allowed to submit the matches that Adam Cole has submitted lately against Tomohiro Ishii, against Jeff Hardy, against Samoa Joe. There are wrestlers that would be like we would be questioning if they need to quit the business if they did this shit.
Let's do this. Can you imagine the kind of noise we would hear if Kyle O'Reilly, his own fucking faction mate, was having these kind of matches? People when it looked like he was leaving with Johnny Gargano out of NXT were like, why would AEW even want that fucking guy? Oh, I don't know. Here's your 4.25 star match. Here's your 3.75 star match. Here's your 4.5 or 4.75, 4.5 star tag team triple threat match. Like, if Kyle O'Reilly was doing that here, people would be murdering him.
We probably go down a list and find more people.
But I just want to pull
look.
someone.
We know who it is.
I just want to pull somebody that's just like, hey, like people be out here acting like, why would AEW even take this fucking guy? No one, everyone knew that Adam Cole was going to be taken, and not even taken, but like people, AEW should want him. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like, and literally, it's like once he lost that title match to, or let's say the rematch. Like once he got past that rematch that he had, it's like a different person. Like you look at what he first showed up from, basically not full gear, but All Out, from All Out to Revolution is at a level where like no one's questioning why he's here. And then like the second he lost that rematch is like, yo, what happened this cycle? What happened? Like it's literally just this cycle where it's like he's a different person.
Yeah, so someone should look into that. Owen Hart women's final. Britt Baker defeats Ruby Soho. James, was this a match of the year?
Fuck no. Yo. So, I did not watch Rampage or Dynamite yet from last week. So, I got the pre-show. I popped on the pre-show, and they have the 24/7 type video pre-show hype package or whatever. So I'm watching all of them, to see, give me the context that I've missed from missing last week's shows. So they get to the women's Owen match final, and Mark Henry brings his country ass on the screen and says, "I'm sorry, I got to use your line, Rich. I'm sorry." He brings his country ass on the screen and says, "Hey, at this point, two iconic characters at the top." I don't think he said top of the game, but at the end he said, I think this match will be match of the year." I was like, wait, what? I paused it, I rewound it, I recorded
what
it,
year?
I recorded it, and I put it in my phone, and I sent it to y'all, and then I tweeted, I was like, he said what?
You trying to gas it up.
Bro. You can't talk about how much Owen Hart means to you and tear up on this while you sitting down doing all this stuff. And then in the same fucking breath, lie like that.
Look, I know Owen Hart liked to lie. I know Owen Hart liked to rib. Mark, with all due respect, no.
Like, what? Okay. You don't really do gambling.
Nah.
But let's do this. Dollar per dollar. How many dollars would I have to put up in order for you to bet $1 that you're on Friday night, that, to your knowledge, all of them were healthy, all four people were healthy, but that Britt Baker and Ruby Soho would have a better match than Thunder Rosa and Serena Deeb? How many dollars would I have had to put up for you to take that bet? For you to bet $1 on it?
I would probably say $100, maybe.
So for $1, so for you to bet at $1, I would have to have wagered $1,000 for you to have taken that bet.
Oh my God.
That's what you're saying.
Wow.
Match it could be match of the year, my ass.
Yeah, it was not match of the year, so
like, to be quite honest with you, like this match was not as good as the Adam Cole and Samoa Joe match where we just like gave Adam Cole a whole career retrospective or evaluation over a performance evaluation for the last quarter, right? Like, it just went long, and like the crowd just sat on their hands, and the crowd realized it was sitting on his hands, and it was like, all right, we gotta, try to cheer, we gotta kind of rally them to try to be better. And then the match kept going, and then it got to the finish, and I was like, yo, man, like, another match, I'm just like,
not it.
At this point, I was like, yo, what the fuck? Like, how long have I been watching the show? It's been 2 hours. I've seen one great match. What the fuck is going on?
Yeah, at this point in the show, I was like, yo, we are not on pace. I love Britt's gear. Thought it was excellent. yeah, Britt and Ruby just wasn't. Just wasn't there. Adam Cole and Britt Baker. Then up on the ramp, they get presented the trophies. Martha Hart comes out. Crowd loves her. She's happy. I love seeing it.
Soaking it in.
Talk as long as you want. Hopefully they next year when the Owen comes, they step it up a little bit in the ring, like for the finals, because
you're gonna say they do something else.
No, I was gonna say these finals, like I don't know, man. Like I think we should talk about the overall tournament. Like I thought it was like largely like you could have like you could have just done all these matches throughout Dynamite and not called it a tournament, and we wouldn't have known the difference. I feel like, not to say that the matches weren't good or anything. There were matches in there that were good. I know a lot of other people were booked in different parts of the card that could have possibly like injected this thing with some more life. I feel like I wanted to hear like some more promos. I wanted to see more video packages, more prestige placed on this thing. Like as far as like what it really means to people. Like I feel like I shouldn't have had to wait to see Mark Henry until like everyone else. They could have like brought everyone out. But this is them wanting to do their Joker stuff. They could have did like a ceremony, be like, hey, these are all our 8 people that are going to be in it. Like really bring like the pageantry behind it or whatever. Like, line them up and talk about why they want to win it or whatever. Give them sashes, something like that. Like,
so you wanted to be like the 5-star Grand Prix?
Line them up. Do something cool. Like do something cool, like and really like play it up, like like you got Dax and Cash spinning the whole their whole thing, doing tributes to the wrong Hart brother in this thing, and it's just like come on, man. Like,
that's not true. Hair played its own in that match, but
they did and then the finish they stole from 1993 King of the Ring, which was Brett. So
I know, but you get my point. It was
like I don't know, like
look, they were stealing different things and making an amalgamation of the plagiarism or whatever you want to call it. I know you've been heavy on not liking.
We about to turn that all the way up. Yeah. We about to turn that all the way up going forward. But what's going on, Frankie? But yeah, moving forward, Men of the Year in Paige.
Let me get my 2 cents in with the Mark thing. So Cole comes out, he's worn that gear before, the black and pink, and then he comes out and he wins, and then Britt comes out and she's wearing black and pink. I was like, oh well, she's winning.
Yeah.
I was like, oh okay, they have a couple win. She's winning, and then like. The only moment of the match that the crowd like really liked and enjoyed was like Britt was in a submission like she was going to tap, and then she was making the ropes, and then Ruby pulls her back to the middle of the ring and then slaps her back on, and I was like, okay, that's time to do it. And then she made the ropes again. I was like, oh, they fucked that one up. So Ruby, Ruby is beat by Britt babyface by a second by helping her up to her feet, even though she, next time they interact with each other, she's gonna rub it in her face again. But they got the 2 belts, and Martha, after that she held up the 5-star Grand Prix championship trophy, and then showed it to the crowd, and didn't hand it either one of them, just put it back on the table, and then danced off. And I was like, she had some fun, and that's really the only thing that really matters.
Yeah. So 6-man tag match, Men of the Year, Paige Van Zant against Frankie Kazarian, Sammy Guevara, Ty Conti. This thing was built around a couple spots to get Sammy Guevara to kick Ty Conti in the face, Frankie Kazarian to walk out on his team, then suddenly help them, and then Paige Van Zant to do a small flurry of offense. This was useless.
Yep, had no business being in the card, and the crowd did not care about it other than to say how much they don't want to see Sammy Guevara. And I don't know if it was like the helpful heat at all. I don't know.
Good. The good news is this program is over. Neither Frankie or Sammy Guevara can challenge for the title as long as Scorpio has it.
Good point.
But
what about Paige and Tay. That means they may, that doesn't mean they're done.
Doesn't mean
they're done.
Yeah, I don't know. But they can focus on, taking Sammy's heel character into a way it needs to go now. So get him out of here. Get Scorpio somewhere else. And Scorpio's going to be facing off with Dante Martin, I believe.
Yes.
So
yeah. I think they mentioned like the Forum show. So couple things. Tay and Sammy Guevara, they come up the middle entrance, the former Cody entrance. I guess not, like Cody's gone, so now people can use it. Like Jade used it, for example, and Sammy was dressed like a crow.
Bro, I don't know what the fuck they were wearing, but
I can't speak to. Well, the reason why I say dressed like a crow is because like Tay was dressed like Maleficent from Disney. She how do I say this? I can't remember. Was it Sleeping Beauty? Basically, an evil stepmother, a evil stepmother type figure that had black horns sticking out. That's what she was dressed as. She was dressed as Maleficent, right? So, and then like she also and she controlled the crow. She controlled some crows, and then this motherfucker Guevara came out with a suit with like black like furry feathers, and I was like, oh, so he's like the crow, and that's Maleficent, and I'm like, or the Raven, not the crow, but I'm like, yo, why would he dress something like that lame? Obviously he's a heel, whatever, no matter. But the main thing for me was like, so I learned that they made a new Laker / Kobe Bryant edition of the TNT title for Scorpio Sky. Scorpio Sky comes down to the ring and he's wearing black, gray, a turquoise, a like a mauve type color, and like a burnt gold, and I'm like, he's dressed like the fucking 90s Alamo Dome Spurs logo. Why the fuck is he dressed like, David Robinson, Tim Duncan, Twin Towers, when he's supposed to be representing SoCal or whatever else? That was the Lakers' biggest rival at that point. So what the fuck are you doing?
Well, maybe they're in LA. Maybe he breaks out the yellow tights.
But you get my point. Why? It's like it was almost like wearing like some Nikes and then like wearing like an Adidas shirt. This shit don't go. This shit ain't P. What are you doing?
I'd just like to take time to admire the visual of Sammy Guevara showing up with a UFC championship on, to show the toughness. I love to point that out. But from here on, this show turns right the fuck around. We were going the wrong direction. But somebody noticed we were on the wrong track, and those somebodies were Kyle O'Reilly and Darby Allin. They came out here and kicked the fuck out of each other. I fucking love this match. Like I was coming off my chair watching like the wrist Darby was taking, and then Kyle just beating the fuck out of him, and then it was only like 10 minutes, or I don't even know, it was 10 minutes or whatever.
It felt shorter than 10.
It was 9:45.
Oh, well, it's 9:45.
Yep.
So yeah, okay.
Yep. So it was like bro, I fucking loved this match. Like I was like, man, in an alternate dimension, this could have been a final for the tournament. So, and yeah, I love this. Yeah, I love this match too.
And I thought it was awesome. And also, like, I don't know what the fuck happened with Darby at the beginning where he goes for the bottom rope, or between the middle and bottom rope dive that he does, and he, almost like torpedoes into people. Like I don't know what happened, but basically like he like fell and basically like flipped in midair and landed on his neck, and as he landed on his neck, like his feet happened to luckily clip O'Reilly, so it looked like it turned into like some kick move he did, but it was like he did it on purpose. I'm looking at it, I rewind that like once or twice, and I'm looking at his neck and head, I'm like, he ain't playing this for him to land on his head and neck like this on the floor. So but yeah, like great use of technical wrestling and everything else. And it was funny because like I don't know what the fuck Jim Ross be watching, but he was like almost pleasantly delighted. Well, yeah, like he was like pleasantly surprised at like the amount of catch wrestling he saw in the middle of a Kyle O'Reilly Darby Allin match. I was like, have you never seen Darby Allin wrestle before? I know he does the crazy death-defying stuff, but outside of that, all he does is intricate ass technical wrestling and storytelling based on the fact he's so small and he'll give his body to either sell or overcome the selling and fight from underneath. Like, he's a perfect underdog babyface. He just has a skateboard and has face paint on. What do you not understand about this? You've been telling these kind of stories for decades, Jim Ross.
Yeah. Big win for Kyle O'Reilly here. I didn't mind seeing him get the win here. I was kind of, I wanted Darby to win, but hopefully this leads to something for Kyle. I don't know where Darby goes, but he'll figure it out. He's always over. AEW Women's World Title match, Thunder Rosa versus Serena Deeb. Crowd was very into this one. I love this match as well. This one, Thunder came out with a Uvalde tribute gear on, of course, the shooting that happened. Then Serena Deeb came out, new theme music. And this one, like, crowd was into it. Like, and, they were in there working, trying to send a message, in the beginning. Like, it was like, oh, okay. Like that. So fuck them promos, fuck everything that led up to this. It's about a, how they say, the game is about a bucket. Wrestling's about a match. Like, that's what the message they were trying to send here. And, I dug this one.
Yeah, it was great at the start. And then, like, you could tell the pace blew them up, and then it started getting tired. You could see them, like, for them looking winded compared to what you've ever seen them wrestle before. And then you could also see it in like the lack of like what it like at the beginning, and then you see how it tailed off and how it started getting a little sloppy or whatever else. But I still thought it was a better than just good match. I just think that it was an ambitious pace, and like, look, I don't begrudge people for trying to go out there and have the best match you could possibly have. Like, there were a lot of people that wasn't out here taking chances in that first 2 hours. But yeah, like, just comparatively speaking, like, it just didn't, by the end of it, I was kind of like, oh, it feels like two matches now. Two different matches from what I saw at the beginning and the second half. So, but at the same time, I still thought it was a better than good match.
Yeah, Thunder Rosa retains the title here. I could have been talked into a title change here, but Thunder's going to go on, and who knows like where she's going with it. I think there's a real like discussion to be had as far as like between her and Jade, who's the number one champion in these parts right now. They have definitely different strengths, I'd say, but I think I don't know who can be next for Thunder. Looks like Jade's and got people orbiting her right now. What's stopping Hikaru Shida from stepping back up next? Or I'm just hopeful that, or I don't know, Toni Storm, like, figure it out. Jamie Hayter, can she get a look? Like, there are a lot of people that are hanging around in the Owen Women's Tournament that could do something. So Anarchy in the Arena. I fucking love this. This was excellent.
Best match on the show.
Best match of the show for sure. Yeah. I went 4 3/4 on this, and it was like I didn't think it was perfect, but it was like damn near perfect. It was like, for the hardcore brawling and like wildness and waking the crowd up. Jericho had the idea to do the New Jack thing, just proving his genius again, saying how well that shit will work, because like we all popped big when the music started back over while they were still just crazy shit going on. And obviously it's impossible to capture video of this match and see everything. I hear from the arena perspective, this match is even crazier. Just seeing, if you're up high, you can just see all the chaos happening. And I thought they made a lot of like they did a lot of things in the match where obviously, all right, we're going to grab your attention with the music, like looping around twice or whatever, and having a wild brawl at the beginning. And then we're going to like pair off and, you know, we're going to do some risk taking stuff. We're going to bleed. We're going to fight around the arena. And then it's going to break down into like this storytelling masterclass, like with Danielson at the end, and then Eddie Kingston coming out with the gas can and pouring it on Jericho, but at the same time pouring on Danielson and him snapping, and then Moxley being in there watching his two friends fight, and it's like, oh shit, what side is Moxley gonna really choose? And then like it fucking costs him at the end, and like Jericho Appreciation Society showing that they are fucking dirty brawlers and violent men themselves, and like in the middle of this shit, it's Chris Jericho, and I every time I see Jericho just have like one of these performances, it's like this dude he's not content. Like he's not content with his already great legacy. He's always adding unlimited chapters. Like, he got this here book right here, this book, the book of Jericho, with all these matches that he has that he's written down and gave himself star ratings. He's adding more to this shit that's worth a damn. And Danielson was incredible at the end. Kingston, all-time iconic photo, him coming down with the gas can. Matt Menard shows up on the fucking Muda scale. I couldn't stop thinking about how great this match was. I can't wait to watch it again, and I don't really rewatch matches.
So I love this match. I don't like it as much as everybody else because I'm plundering or whatever else. People think it's like one of the very best matches of the year, and I'm like, yo, bro, I'll take Adam Page and Takeshita over this 100 times over 100. But whatever. Great match. One of the best matches of the year around the world. Like, it's a 4.5 star match. Like, it's one of the best matches in the world this year. So, do I think it's like a match of the year contender? No. But whatever. That I guess is where I kind of separate myself with the 4 1/4 thing, or 4 3/4 thing. But I have some questions for what the fuck exactly they're doing with Eddie Kingston. He got the win at Revolution. And Jericho turns on him. They do the goofy ass thing with the 70s Lawler fireball shit, whatever.
Wizard!
That's the only redeeming quality for it is Jericho, funnily says he's a wizard and he'll throw a fireball in your face. That's funny. But outside of that, it's like, okay, so Kingston, has fake makeup on his face for 2-3 weeks or whatever else, and now he's perfectly fine. And then they have him on the hype video, they had him, cutting some promo where he's sitting down and he has a bottle of Jack when he takes a shot and he says, "Look what you got me doing. You got me drinking this shit again." And he starts talking about his demons or whatever else, and he starts talking about, what you did to my family and what I'm going to do to your family in retaliation and have them feel the same way that my family felt or whatever else. And look what you did to me. And I'm looking at him and I'm like, bro, you have manicured eyebrows. I thought he burnt those fuckers off. And I'm like, so now he's doing the Mick Foley ECW thing where he's like, I don't want to do this, but you're making me do this. Why are you making me do this? I'm scared of what I'm gonna do to you and all this stuff. And I'm like, yo, it's fake fighting. Can you knock it off? For me, I feel like in the chase to be so real, you have now looped around the other side, and now this shit feels super fake to me. So then the match happens, and he talks about all the stuff with Jericho, and the vast majority of the match, he's in the concourse fighting fucking Matt Parker, and it's Matt Lee, and he's fighting
Daniel Garcia. So I think that was the best part of it.
He does get to Daniel Garcia. To Daniel Garcia after he's fighting Buddy. He made Matt Lee, who's on the Muda scale at that point. And I'm just like, you talked about how now I know this building. What it's building towards. Building towards. He comes from the freight elevator. He grabs a gas can.
Comes from the depths of hell
and comes down for Jericho. But it's like, can I see a little bit more of him? Trying to kill Jericho at the beginning as opposed to Moxley is doing that for most of the vast majority of the match. And then he comes out And then he tries to set him on fire. He in his blood rage of like he's so angry that he has beaten up Daniel Garcia. He has searched out and seeked out a fucking gas can that has gas in it. He has gotten a lighter. He has walked down to the center of the arena again. He has gotten to the ring and he decides to pour it on top of Danielson. It's like nobody's that fucking angry that they can't wait to get Danielson off of them. What? Like I'm not supposed to suspend my disbelief, but I'm like, what? You did all of this and you're still that angry? Get a gun and shoot him then. Like what? What are we doing? So then him and Danielson start fighting and like that's great because obviously
fire
they were
is
done.
central to the thing because Jericho threw fire at him, so I'm gonna burn you up.
I'm fine with that, but what I'm saying is like you look at like you talk about like for example you think people talk about matches that have interference in like the last half of them that go 20 minutes whatever else. Then well why didn't the person just come out? It's like apply that same logic of what went through this man's mind where he was that angry to go through all of these steps of go grab gas can, go grab lighter, beat up Daniel Garcia, go out, come out the front of the entrance again, walk down, pour gas on a fucking guy that's also beating up the guy you're trying to murder, as opposed to just letting them keep beating him up and then burning him after there. You can't wait, you did that angry. Then fight the guy that just got gas poured on because like, you can't fathom why he'd be mad that you pour fucking gas on him. Like, it's like, so then Kingston, he gets fucking laid out, and I thought he was gonna make the save and continue the match. Like, he just laid out,
no.
He's never heard from again. I was like, are you serious? Like,
Man passed out.
So, he loses cool, he fails as being a babyface because he let his anger overtake him, and then he is laid out, and another person takes the pin. I was like, yo, I don't like this for him. You got to give him something to redeem himself in the middle of that.
It doesn't matter, James. We've been talking about Eddie Kingston for over a year and a half. He is immune to losses. It doesn't matter.
That's what you keep saying.
When you have it, you have it.
Until you don't. Until you don't.
But we're not at the place where he doesn't have it.
Well, my thing is, let's not do things to where all of a sudden one day we look up and be like, damn. Am I unfair by saying, why would you do this to him?
I think the thing is, at some point, it's going to happen anyway, right? Like, you can't run from how much someone loves the love for Eddie Kingston. It's not forever, I feel like. You can look at Becky Lynch going way over the fucking mountain, like as far as like people being into her and living and dying with her. Eventually they're not going to live and die with you, but while they do, this is the magic of the journey that we're on right now. Like,
what's the end game? He beats Jericho? He already did that.
No, Jericho's not the end game, man. This is the quest, man. This is what gets Eddie to the level to be able to challenge for the championship one day, and it feel real.
I feel like he's already there, though.
I mean, maybe he's already there. Like, you know, and
I mean, shit, we just had Lance Archer challenge. Hold on. We just had Lance Archer challenge for the title like a month and a half ago. Why the fuck get Eddie Kingston?
Well, that's not a real challenge. Like, you know what I mean?
Let me be a
like,
threat.
To where he can actually win it. Like. Like he's like not a filler challenger, not a dynamite television match, you know, where he leaves, you know, after 10 minutes in the ring and gets beat and tossed aside. Like I think he's got a real long-term story, and I wouldn't have believed in Eddie Kingston ever winning the world title.
I don't know. If you believe that, given his age, why the fuck are we waiting? How old is he?
I think he's 39, if I'm not mistaken. Eddie, he just turned 40.
You see what I'm saying? Like, there's a certain point where it's like, for me, I'm sitting there watching this, I'm like, I almost felt like, I don't want to say it was malpractice, but I was like, he loses, he goes out like a sucker, and also he made the wrong decision as a hero. I was like, I don't like this. I don't like this for him. We just got him over fucking hump 3 months ago at Revolution. Now we're backtracking? I didn't like it. I didn't like it.
All progress is not linear.
It is when you control. It is when you control the narrative, Rich. Like in real life, it is not. In real life, it is not linear. But in storytelling,
but Eddie Kingston is real. That's the thing.
He's so real. Whereas his fucking why does he have 2 eyebrows right now? Then he got one burned off. How real is it? You can't look. All I'm saying is this is fake. It is a TV show. You control the people's trajectory and also the progress at the rate they go. Look at Wardlow. Look at Eddie Kingston. I see one person like this. I see another person like doing this now, and I'm like, what? Why do you need him going like this when they can both be going like this?
So let me get this right. You think Eddie Kingston is less over from this? From having another great match and just like him lying in the corner while someone else gets pinned?
I don't know what purpose it served for them to lose that match. Outside of building towards a match with Danielson.
I think they're going to do blood and guts. And
if that's the case, I'll come back on her and be like, okay, fine. But I don't know I don't know what you have to do to get the square off the difference between Bryanson and Kingston in a realistic way when we talk about how real this shit is after a motherfucker pours gasoline on him. Will you forget motherfucker pouring gasoline on you? Because I wouldn't.
I mean,
I don't give a damn
like
if I have an equivalent of William Regal or John Moxley. Go to hell. He wanted to kill me.
Yeah, it's on. It's on. And they're gonna have to settle that. But I
like you say they're gonna do blood and guts. I'm like, I don't know how they do that. Do they transition from if blood and guts is basically like Kingston and Santana and whoever else he can find versus the Blackpool Combat Club, and then is what side is Moxie going to be on, being the real intrigue of it? Fine, but them two link it, the BCC and Eddie Kingston and them coalition to face Jericho's Jericho should be out of this. Jericho should be out of this. It's done.
Well, they kind of choked this nigga Danielson with a belt, so that I'm sure he's gonna want to pound of flesh on that.
I don't think he wants it before he wants to fight the motherfucker that tried to burn him alive.
I just like to make note that Jericho owns the big bad Blackpool Combat Club. So for all that, all the real, stuff they was doing, and the violence and all that stuff, they got owned by the Wizard.
Well, to be fair, if you want to give them an actual fighting chance, you give them a win against a team that is considered OP, right? And their babyface, they'll survive it, whatever else. And they didn't ultimately win because they're better or whatever else. They won because of internal conflicts of Eddie Kingston being so seeing so much red he can't control himself. So being self-destructive. So God damn it. Anyway, so I hate baby faces that just can't control their fucking emotions. I just can't, come on, man. Hold it the fucking together. Just this much. Don't go try to kill a motherfucker because they spat on your wedding ring. You can wash it off. Don't try to, end up fucking tearing your ACL, Wile E. Coyoting off the ramp. That's fucking dumb. It makes you like a piece of shit. And shit like this makes you like a piece of shit. Oh my God, I hate it. I literally, this is a Gargano loss. That's exactly what I thought in my mind. This is a Gargano loss. And he's like, look what happened when doing that kind of shit, what they did to Gargano. It's obviously they're not the same people, but it's losses like this make you the person I'm rooting for and I'm invested in is a dumbass. Oh, does that make me a dumbass and I'm invested in him? Maybe I should stop.
I think Eddie being a once in a lifetime promo kind of would save him from that. You can hand him the mic at any time until the well runs dry.
I understand that he talked himself halfway decently out of the fucking dud or whatever else. You can't just keep expecting people to dig yourself out of the holes out of your bad booking, or bad booking in quotation marks.
AEW World Tag Team Title 3-way match. Jurassic Express against Keith Lee and Swerve Strickland, and Team Taz. Jurassic Express retains again. And I do not think people were happy about that, which is funny because like there's a lot of things going on narratively in AEW. There are people that are resentful of the new people coming in. There are seeing like the championships kind of change hands, but like you look around, it's like, well, Jurassic Express wins. Like, are they not? Did they not qualify for the for the home jersey? Like, like they've been here from the start. Like, I feel like FTR is clearly in the mix, circling. They're waiting on this, and they're going to lose to FTR. But this was another good match. And like people like really had a emotional meltdown, I think, over these guys winning.
Really?
Yes.
Who do people want to see win?
Yeah, like I think they're like people are they want to see Team Taz get it. They want to see Swerve and Lee get it. They came in with a lot of momentum, and I can't blame them for either side. Keith Lee and Swerve are a very cool tag team. Team Taz is gradually seemingly putting together more by the week. The feud was Swerve and Our Glory against Team Taz with these guys kind of thrown in, and I think a lot of people talk themselves into title change here. So I wasn't, I was shocked they win. I was kind of pissed Swerve took the pin in this match, but I think he was clearly the star of the match, and they probably structured it in that way, knowing the brain trust kind of behind these things. So they have history of this. I want to say this company, right? You can think back to All In, like Bandito was going to take the pin, so he is going to be the one that shines and stuff like that. But I think Swerve was excellent in this match. Lee looks in the best shape that he's been in since his indie days, I would gather. I thought Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus were awesome. Hobbs came out there very ambitious, I thought. But yeah, I don't think this is the disaster that everyone is making out to be. Save it for when they drop it to FTR, and they start going insane with the cosplay. Eventually, people will catch up to this. And I feel like I've been ahead of the curve on it. But eventually, the cosplay will come around, and we're gonna get that going. Yes, the Shaboing Boing Factory. That's funny.
Who's already talking about Shaboing Boing?
It's a whole thing on Twitter, and in the comment section they're talking about it.
No, I know Shaboing from Martin. It's was it Tommy Davidson dressing up, or he was playing some dude that was doing like an imitation of Sammy Davis Jr. He goes Shaboing Boing. Yeah.
That's a nickname for the Nightmare Factory. So,
what? Why?
Ricky Starks, coded that whole connection there. They said, TK might not trust them. MJF and Rhodes or MJF and Starks are kind of like Cody kind of descendants, we could say.
Oh,
but
God.
Yeah, I didn't have a problem with the booking on this, but yeah, people got upset. I don't know what to tell them.
I don't have a problem with this, but because I mean, it was a great match, but also, like, when did this year become the year where they decided to turn, like, the triple threat tag matches into the WCW triangle matches? Because I don't remember triple threat tag matches in AEW being triangle matches until Revolution this year.
I can't even really think of, like, too many other ones.
Maybe that's what it is. I just
I know they did a 4-way match before, and like last year or 2 years ago, it was like Kenny and Hangman and the Bucks and PNP and another team. I can't remember. It might have been Private Party. And it was like, I know it was like 2 people in the ring at once. It wasn't 4 people in the ring. I can't recall there being a triple threat tag with 3 people in the ring.
I get the storytelling elements of it, but it's also like, dude, in like 10 minutes or whatever else, or in like the last third of this match, everybody's gonna be in this fucking ring to begin with. Mm-hmm. Can we cut the shit and just get to the flips and the crazy shit that's gonna happen in this match. And like so much of this match was they got to come up with these mini contrivances to where someone can steal a tag without them looking, even though this person like apparently has like the ring awareness of a frog to not realize they're in the wrong corner. And I'm like, I hate that. So yeah, that maybe that's a pet peeve of mine, like seeing matches like that where like people have like 45-degree, you know, fields of vision, like the fucking sentries in Metal Gear Solid, or like people have no like awareness of the surroundings where they can get blind tagged in, and because they're in a you know a neutral corner when they're supposed to be in like the blue or red corner. I hate that shit, but whatever. Maybe this is a me thing, but yeah, match was great. As you mentioned, Swerve was awesome. I didn't think they did that much with Keith Lee. But I don't know what that was about. But yeah, like the you know, once they got coincidentally Keith Lee stealing a blind tag from
Great
Powerhouse Hobbs, and then you go ahead.
James says, "Get to the RLPW."
What I mean. What the fuck else you got Jungle Boy and Swerve there in a match with 6 people? What else was gonna happen? What you thought they were going to start working like Shuri? You thought she was gonna start? They thought people were gonna start fighting for arm bars? No. Okay. So anyway, who said that?
MJ does PR.
Okay. All right. So So basically, once Keith Lee steals a blind tag from Powerhouse Hobbs, then you get the 3 big guys in the ring, and they start, you know, doing the stuff, and then all of a sudden, the speedsters get in and they do their thing, and like I was like, yeah, so you did all that shit, then finally get to like what was going to happen by the end anyway. We're like I think it was Rick Knox, because Rick Knox is always like over his head when it comes to these tag matches and let people go nuts because he's supposed to be like almost like Don Knotts and fucking the Andy Griffith Show, where like he just over his head and overwhelmed. He's like, oh, what's going on? So whatever. Like it was a great match, and like I didn't like that Swerve loss, but it's like if Jungle Boy and them were going to win, who else is going to take the pin? Because they don't like beating the heels in that situation. Because especially like the way they set it up, where it's like they almost had the match won, so it makes sense for them to lose, and like they ain't beat Keith Lee.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say this: Swerve has taken too many pins already, for my liking.
Yeah, and I wonder where it leaves him going forward. Do they continue to team with him and Keith at the moment? Does he break back into singles? Is it time for him to flip up his alignment? Even you start looking at the landscape. There's a lot of baby faces, and then you start thinking about heels that can work, that are highly positioned. After MJF and Scorpio starts getting kind of slim when you start looking at it. And then Jericho is like, I kind of consider Jericho in his legend emeritus status. Like he'll go out there and do it. I don't think you want to necessarily like rely on Chris Jericho. I think you take the Jericho that overachieves and overexceeds rather than having to like put it all on his shoulders.
You don't want to depend on him.
Yeah.
So I don't know what is Danielson since BCC.
I feel like they've flipped back babyface.
Okay, that's fair. I haven't really thought about it. I always thought that like they were going to do something, eventually figure it out, but the Yuta thing, I guess they are baby faces, and obviously Moxley never officially turned. So,
and like I think they're like I had actually wrote a column last week that did pretty well for Social Suplex. It was like Hangman Page bombs first, and it was like based on the promo and everything he did on Dynamite. It turned out not to go my way, and as far as the finish, but like I had mentioned in the column, I felt like the Blackpool Combat Club, like when they were coming in, like their entire ethos was just like, we're just gonna kick the shit out of like everyone here, and like they were getting mashed up like kind of like with the Best Friends. It looked like, it was like, damn, it was like they're gonna kick the shit out of all these people we like fuck that. Like, and then like, you know, when you pivot them towards like Jericho Appreciation Society, and it's like, oh, okay, you put them against sports entertainment, and then I think you can allow the crowd to kind of join in with them, and it's a little easier in that respect. And you know, that's why I think, you know, they're baby faces now pretty much by proxy. But let's get to the main event. AEW World Title match. CM Punk defeats Hangman Page for the AEW World Title, just over 25 minutes. Thought this was a good match. I didn't think it was bad. I think there are some people that hold that opinion. I didn't think it was like an all-timer or anything. It was just like, oh, okay. Very weird crowd dynamics, I would say. It felt like Twitter come to life. We are well aware of the toxic nature of like you know, debates over people's favorites and stuff like that. Like, it felt like Twitter, like people weren't necessarily like bigging up their guy. They were here to shit on the other guy. Like, that's what I felt like during this match.
That's what I felt like while watching it. Like it in a way while watching it, because it felt like watching a Japanese crowd, except like if they were negative as fuck instead of positive, right? It was like whoever, you know, like these matches, you know, in Japan, like, you know, the wrestling's more of a sport than based on a heel face dynamic. There might be people you lean towards the light more, but it's more or less like cheer for your favorites when they're working underneath or they're in danger. You cheer for them to get up and fight back. And in this match, when they were going back and forth, it was like whoever was on top, the fans for the person that was working underneath at the time didn't cheer for CM Punk or Adam Page to fight back. They were just like, "Ooh, I don't like the part where my guy has to sell for you." And I was like, "What the fuck is wrong with y'all?" Like, it was weird. It was really weird.
It was the split that I was describing in the column, really, and we were talking about on the show last week.
It was really, for me, it was really weird. And like, for me watching it, from the entrances, or really after entrances, as the entrances come out, like Punk gets the bigger pop than Page does. And then the match happened, and it's closer. It's probably like 60-40 Punk, throughout the whole match of who people were, you know, were going for. For me, listening to the hype video of what Adam Page said to Punk as far as his reasoning, like it sounds ridiculous to me. Like I am not winning. I am not trying to keep this belt. I'm trying to keep this belt from you instead of trying to keep it against you or whatever the fuck he said. But it's like his line was like he's trying to protect AEW from CM Punk, and I'm like, this sounds a lot like the misguided things that like. What's his name? Who's the Clippers owner? I forgot his name. Microsoft.
Donald Sterling. Oh.
No, after Donald Sterling.
The other guy. Steve Ballmer. It sounds like the stuff that like Steve Ballmer and the Clippers are trying to do with like, trying to get their own little bit of fan base out of the Southern California market, where it's like they're trying to attract like a working class demographic of fans. And they talk about hard work and, you know, basically like they're trying to appeal to a certain demographic, and I'm just like, hey, the thing you're misunderstanding is like this is the Lakers and like this is like Kobe Bryant and Pat Riley. Like that's not the ethos of hard work holds up in the Lakers. And it's like when he says the thing about like I'm trying to protect, you know, CM Punk from AEW and I don't want this place to change. It was like, my brother, AEW does not fucking exist without CM Punk. Starting from 2011 in the pipe bomb and going from there, like they set them like he is arguably the most influential American wrestler of the last decade plus. Like, and so I don't understand what you're talking about. Like, we're not here without him to be here. So as a fan, I'm like, huh? So getting back to the match. But at what point does like, all right, we appreciate what you did, but we got it from here. Like, what point does that come in?
I guess the point was CM Punk sucks.
I was gonna say that's what I feel like, because like I don't feel like CM Punk like holds up to Hangman Page
in the ring, no. But as far as you know, the traditional things of what like makes a star, the only thing he does better is the wrestling. I'm not trying to dismiss that. Like, I prefer watching Adam Page match to CM Punk match at this stage of the game, but he's not a better promo than him. He doesn't draw better quarter hours than him. He doesn't draw bigger houses than him based off of stuff he's heavily involved in. Like, the way they set this match, especially with the commentators around it, was like, and maybe I'm mistaken because like I didn't watch it, but like going from the hype video package and going like the commentators, like they gave off this thing that like Page was like trying to protect AEW from the evil CM Punk, and I'm like, when has CM Punk been the quote unquote evil CM Punk in AEW? What is this?
Mm-hmm.
And I guess they were trying to do some rally like we want people to cheer for both of them, so we'll give the line that like, I am AEW, like, you know, like how Goshi like says, I am Noah. Like, and I'm just like, cool, bro, but like, what does it got to do with like y'all fighting to figure out who's the best? Like, this some shit you came up with the last week. This is like meta talking being brought to the forefront, and I'm like, whatever, man. And then, but anyway, back to the match. I thought the match was great. Unless I'm forgetting something, I think this is Punk's best match in AEW. Go ahead.
No, Eddie Kingston.
You're right. I think that match is better from the standpoint of what it had to accomplish. I think this match is, how do I say this? I think this match requires a better performance out of Punk to get it done. Even with the goofy buttshot layers he throws that got worse and worse every time. Like, that's like his slingshot, cutter.
That looked bad.
Yeah. All 3 times he's tried it, he's fucked it up. Even the one, like, Page saved it by, like, turning into a counter, and then he was like, go get it again, and he went and got it again, and he fucked it up again. But yeah, like, I really enjoyed the match. I appreciated like the physicality of it. Was starting out with the chops and everything else, and like I thought that obviously like he you know, for the stretch he was in for like a month or so doing like the Bret Hart routine, like aside from the sharpshooter, this was a CM Punk type of match.
All the sharpshooters on this show look like absolute shit, and everybody in this promotion should be banned from doing them except the Young Bucks, like in Sting, who does the Scorpion Deathlock.
What's it called?
Everyone else got to quit. Pack it up.
Thunder Rosa, when she did it, was like she was tired, so I cut her some slack, but it was like, well, go to another move.
Everybody else, pack it up.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what the situation was, but yeah. Like, I thought the match was great. Like, the story they're told were like, you know, Page gets so desperate that he starts to think that he's going to start cheating to protect the Precious, like he's fucking Schmeagol in Lord of the Rings, before eventually putting the thing back down, and then ultimately gave him, you know, ended up screwing himself out because he had a conflict of crisis, and a crisis of conscience. And he ends up, you know, blinking, so he ends up catching him. It's like, it was really, like, watching it reminded me of, like, this reminds me of that Money in the Bank match with CM Punk and Cena. And then once, like, he does the belt thing, it was like, oh, this is, like, his version of Cena, like, stopping Laurinaitis from doing the screw job thing and then getting in and, you know, catching the GTS. So
funny that Page from day one said he didn't want to get sucked into a masturbatory Bret Hart match,
and then he does the Cena match. Yeah,
no, at the end it turns into Piper and Bret Hart, where Piper doesn't want to use the ring bell and then catches it, you know, at the end or whatever.
I mean, there's a bunch of examples of people doing that sort of thing, but he you know, he wavered or whatever else. But yeah,
I thought Hangman's like promo stuff talking about against CM Punk was more like a rallying cry around like the changing times of AEW, as far as like, and CM Punk being the face of all these these imports and new wrestlers, and like, you know, we often talk about things not staying the same. Like, people need somebody to rally behind that really tap into that stuff. So
I guess, but like, I don't know, maybe it's because I like a lot of the wrestlers that came in more than I like the wrestlers that were here and that were like doing smaller things anyway. Maybe that's what it is, so I'm kind of numb to it, but it's like, that's lifeblood of pro wrestling. Like, if you want a successful pro wrestling company, you have to have churn at the top. Otherwise, you're counting your days until your days are numbered. So, you know,
I gotta say, I'm not excited about the Phil Punk era that we're headed into, or excuse me, the Phil Hart era we're headed into. And like, you know, FTR comes out and celebrates with them after they go off air. They all have
serious? I didn't know that.
That say like Sons of Brett on them. I think it's getting really nauseating. I think it is getting taken advantage of as a gimmick. And like, you know, I understand homage. I understand shouting out to people that came before you, but like, I know what this is, bro. Like, and it's just like it feels like this. You know, and I've talked. I was talking in the group chat earlier. I was like, Eddie Kingston doesn't abuse All Japan Pro Wrestling this bad. Like, as far as like stealing entire sequences of matches, the ring gear, the finishes, the just constant.
Well, he's not
like,
calling himself.
reminder.
Well, he's not out here wearing a T-shirt called Kingston Kabashi either, is he?
Yeah, it's like what the fuck is going on, man? Like, and then like. And I think the stuff that Eddie Kingston actually assimilates into the modern style, in the style that is, you know, kind of carried this company to prominence thus far, rather than the CM Punk way or whatever. And then everything he's doing, the stuff he's taking from Brett, and you know, the stuff he's doing with Dustin, literally recreating Raw matches from 1997. It feels like the past, like, and it just feels like this, you know, it's a wave, and that I think we're going to have to ride out. I say everyone that does not, that agrees with me, that's listening to this, something we're just going to have to ride out until, you know, the you know, time comes where people kind of catch up to what's going on here. I do have a Hangman Page title eulogy. I wrote one for him as I wrote one for Kenny Omega. So James, I'll go ahead and take it from here. So Hangman Page was the fourth AEW World Heavyweight Champion. After 197 days, he lost the championship clean to CM Punk in a very good match that felt like a crossroads for the company, with both men representing different time periods and spirits of All Elite Wrestling. Losing the championship on his seventh defense, he leaves plenty on the table in the future, but gave us the best in-ring world championship reign in AEW history, eclipsing the man he defeated for the championship, Kenny Omega. Page won the title in incredible fashion and rolled into a pair of classic matches against Bryan Danielson, one being a 60-minute draw, giving him back-to-back-to-back classic championship matches that'll live on in fans' minds for years to come. Aside from the matches in his reign, he submitted an incredible non-title match against Konosuke Takeshita. AEW was strong business-wise with Page as the champion. With crowds back in full swing, Page was in key positions on several of AEW's most successful shows critically and financially during his reign. If there was a down point of his reign, Page's television presence left something to be desired for some, as he would routinely not monopolize television time and didn't seem to center the promotion around him like some of his predecessors. At times, his character seemed to struggle, and he would have to out-wrestle the dynamics around him, those dynamics being very over challengers or hotter stories elsewhere. Page in the ring was phenomenal. He rose to the occasion of any world championship standard anywhere in the world in his first go-around with the title, and for sure will wear the crown one day again. His tremendous versatility allowed him to meet opponents like Danielson, Archer, and Cole in any style they wanted to take it to. As a 30-year-old first-time champion, Hangman Page should be the blueprint to study for first-time champions. When looking back, history will be very kind to the Hangman, who used this reign to solidify his main event status. He will always be the first man who was not a world champion in WWE, New Japan Pro Wrestling, or Ring of Honor to rise to world title status in All Elite Wrestling. As for the future, the end of his reign showed a more aggressive side that could be explored. Reuniting with the Elite is always on the table, with the Dark Order not seen as much. For the first time in AEW, Hangman's next journey may be alone. Hangman Page won lots of people over, including myself, during this reign.
Yeah. So far, I was thinking about this maybe like a couple weeks ago. This was actually when you were telling me that people were like ready to trying to get the shit off the page and talking about like he's a weak champion or the nonsense they were saying. But like, I mean, so weak that like, you know, look at the buy rate. Look at the buy rates. Real weak champion on top, right? Anyway, and I thought to myself, I actually went through it and I was like, okay, so this isn't the end all be all, but I was like, is he a most outstanding wrestler performer so far this year? Like, as far as like, is he in contention? He is. Yes. And I was like, and then I thought to myself, like, from a Flair Thez perspective so far this year, like, I guess you could say CM Punk. Obviously, I don't like that match he had Revolution with MJF nearly as much as most people do. So I'll allow for that, right? Outside of that, Shuri, Okada, maybe Zack Sabre Jr.
I think Okada slowed up a little, but he's got, you know, plenty of time to
slowed up compared to like his 2018 standard or whatever. But like as far as like
Will Ospreay,
killer matches, whatever else. No, well, as far as like Flair Thez, where you got to be on top as champion as well. Like it's pretty much him, Shuri, and Okada so far this year. And I was like, so what? I don't get why people were like so acting like the sky was falling. It didn't make sense to me.
There was one interesting thing about his title reign that I thought, I wonder why. And then I was thinking about the landscape, and it was like, well, why did they only position him against either very popular people, or like Danielson had to do like a faux heel turn to do the program. Mm-hmm. Very popular person. They had him going against Lance Archer, and they stick what's his name with him?
Lambert.
They go with Adam Cole, and they know Adam Cole's a very popular heel. Why didn't they ever give him like some heel, like detestable heel to face at any point during this thing? And then he fights CM Punk, who's a babyface. And Aaron Rotowski, shout out to him. He wrote a column like kind of wondering about that. Like,
turning him heel is where you're getting at.
What's up?
People think they may be turning him heel.
I mean, no, I wasn't going that far, but like It was just like, yo, like why didn't they allow him to face real heels like during this thing?
I think they recognized he was a weak champion, and they put in people that are also like, if you put him with Adam Cole, if you put him with Danielson, if you put him with Punk, like the buy rate will stay there. Like I think that's some of it. Like, and also quite frankly, outside of MJF, who could they have put in that spot?
Like what happened to Malachi Black?
They trailed off with him because they like moved off from the Cody thing, and then they put him into a trios.
Yeah, so
Andrade, they slotted him. I'm trying to think who else could they have gone with. Ricky Starks ain't there yet, not even close. He's got they don't have enough good babyface or good heels right now.
Like Chris Jericho couldn't have got a shot at him. Well, Chris Jericho was a babyface a lot of time before the turn. And that would have been a nice button up of him getting a win over Jericho.
In the first title match, yeah.
Yeah, so like I think that's a thing. Like they should start looking at their heels in AEW and developing some good ones.
Like, well, let's look, right? Let's look. Okay, so looking at this. All right, so MJF
feels like he's got to rebuild for a little bit.
Well, I'm just going down. I'm just looking at his card, so I'm just naming it baby faces at random almost. Malachi Black in House of Black, Adam Cole, Men of the Year, Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page, Kyle O'Reilly, Jericho, Ricky Starks. That's the list. That is a weak list of heels. So like this was. They've done too good of a job at making heroes that they don't have enough good villains, and the villains that they do have, they give them these factions of non-threat villains, and henchmen doing henchman work, and like then they don't get to go over and get themselves super hot.
Because then you think about like the crowd reactions and that Paige was running into is like, it would probably have been a little easier for him, like to ride as a babyface.
Yeah, and I think people come in and they have to figure out like what we're gonna do as a program to do for the best of multiple people or whatever else, and then you get like, all right, well, Malachi Black was hot as fish grease, and then like the Cody thing was weird, and then like how do you transition out of that? Bro, Brody King showed up. Oh, Buddy Matthews showed up. All right, now they have that. Oh, and then like the program that he would have done and blown off by now, like we're gonna put that on hold for months because Phoenix dislocated his elbow.
They did have a guy that could no longer ever like challenge for the title. That was there kind of in the same period that that if he was a heel, it might have, they might have had the correct dynamic there. Just to say that.
Maybe, just maybe,
yeah. But yeah, that'll wrap it up for Double or Nothing as far as a review. I'm to be sold. Like I'm gonna have to see it from CM Punk as far as the greatness or whatever. Like, and it's just as a world champion in 2022. He feels like we're going backwards, and there are some people
to what,
like the old era of wrestling. Like, why didn't they go with like you start looking at Danielson and CM Punk and they came in together.
Mm-hmm.
Danielson smokes them in every facet of the game. I think they do that match at some point. I would think for the title. But Danielson's not doing like he's not recreating 1993 King of the Ring because that's all he knows how to do right now. I have no excitement for CM Punk at Forbidden Door. I have no opponent aside from maybe Tanahashi that I think could be like interesting because Tanahashi he'll figure it out. We saw what he did with Jericho at Wrestle Kingdom, but like. I feel like one of the best like wrestlers in the world doesn't have the belt, and like it's not like a case where he's a current.
The first world champion wasn't one of the best wrestlers in the world anymore either.
Right, but he was like the most dynamic and engaging, and like felt like he was just on the cutting edge of creativity and putting things over the way where it just felt like fresh. Like I feel no freshness with CM Punk.
I think that a lot of that has to do with this weird transition thing that we're in. Like, I think once they stabilize, they'll be in a better spot. And also, like, I remember you mentioned this a few weeks ago. Like last year, they did this thing where it seemed like the company had gotten to a malaise, and then all of a sudden they got to the summer, and then they hit the ground running. I think there's still time for that. But I'm just looking over at like. Just remind myself of like CM Punk's cage match from this year, or his match guy from this year, and I'm looking at him like, I vehemently disagree with that fucking dog collar match, but like looking back over this stuff, and I also didn't love the first CM Punk match. I gave it a respect rating because it was good, but it wasn't what I wanted. Like maybe it's a thing where it's like I don't know how you feel about it. I mean, me personally, like I see it as like. CM Punk had to be champion at some point, in a similar fashion way I'm thinking about the Eddie Kingston thing. And it's like, how long you gonna hold the shit off? Until he's fucking too far gone, right? And it's like, all right, the time you can do it now, while Omega's out. You can give wide berth for him. Try to figure out when to get to a Kenny Omega CM Punk match and do that. At a big venue, maybe your biggest show ever. You can do that. And then you can go from there, and then you say, look, he's already done that. Now we transition on him and move on to something else after that, as opposed to waiting, past the window, and then this shit gets worse. He's worse for wear, or he gets fucking hurt, or whatever else. And like right now, I mean, the shit speaks for itself. Like we're kind of, I feel like we're almost in the, or in the minority on it. Like, for me, I was ambivalent to whoever walked out with the championship. I didn't care who won. But like, as far as my enthusiasm level for CM Punk being the champion is like, I think that there's more things. I think there's more interesting things he could do with the belt than what Paige had done, because Paige was only having matches, and like, I loved those matches, but like, I feel like he can kind of set the table in a way at the top of the company in a way that Paige just can't do, because he's not that kind of all-time promo. There's no shame in not being all-time promo, but Punk can do that. So, like, for me, I'm fine with it. I wonder what we're gonna do with Paige after this. I wonder if he takes time off. I don't know. I wonder what he does next.
How about Malachi Black?
Yes, I was asked for that months ago. I was asked for that, like, the summer before he won the title, when he was basically off TV or not doing shit on TV. So yeah.
Maybe they can have Sammy slap him in the face or something like that. So
Sammy Guevara next. No thanks. No thanks. I don't think it's going to do Adam Page any favors being next to that dynamic right now.
He'll get cheered. Yeah, but
Target has Laundry Day covered because they offer a great selection of concentrated Tide Pods to help with all your laundry needs. Tide Pods clean, freshen, and help rejuvenate your clothes with odor fighters and stain removers. Did you know Tide Pods clean better than the leading liquid bargain detergent? Tide Pods are powerful enough to make your whites white and your brights bright, even in cold water. Just toss in 1 Tide Pod for small loads, 2 for medium, 3 for large. It's that easy. For great value and convenient pickup options, get Tide Pods today at Target.
You're finally at that hot new spot, the one your friends keep raving about, sitting across from your date. It's going...
Another round?
Really well. And that dish you've been dying to try, oh, it's headed your way. You can smell it, hear it sizzling fresh off that skillet as it comes closer, and served. Go ahead, enjoy. After your phone sneaks a bite first. When you're with Amex, it's not if it's going to happen, but when. American Express. Don't live life without it.
I guess, James, it's time to hit the music.
All right, so on Friday morning. No, I'm wrong. Saturday morning, Friday night, blah blah blah, blah, whatever. Stardom had their June pay-per-view. I'm sorry, their May pay-per-view, late May pay-per-view, Flashing Champions. They basically did the Night of Champions gimmick. They put all the belts on the line. They set up challengers. They all got title matches, and this show drew in Oda City, I think, their second best attendance they've ever had in Oda City. Like, I was looking at what they've done this year and last year in Oda City. They had 2 shows in Oda City. Oda Ward Gym. The last year was Cinderella Tournament. It had the all-time Utami and Shuri match, and then they also had the final of the Grand Prix in Oda Ward Gym, and this did better numbers than Cinderella last year, which is a surprise for me because this is Night of Champions gimmick. It was I think it was almost 1,900 people, but anyway. I thought this show was great. I think it's one of the best shows of the year. I think it's Stardom's second best show this year. I would say. I think the only other show that's better than this so far this year from Stardom will be the second night of the Sumo Hall back-to-back pay-per-views they did. But from what you saw of it, because I know you didn't, you had your electricity issue with the tornado. What do you think of the matches before? Because I know you didn't see the main event stuff or the the end of the card.
I got cut off in the middle, I believe, of the trios match. So
the Miami Point match.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So everything before that. The Hanan and Rocco, I thought it was a little dry compared to Hanan's normal matches, but maybe it was
lacking. It didn't get through for me.
As far as the prominence match, I think Suzuki carries a lot of swag with her.
She also carried a lot of Waka Tsukiyama too.
I was just gonna bring that up. She beat the fuck out of Waka, and like it's just like sometimes I think Waka's endearing. Sometimes I think she's just like awful. Like so. Yeah. I don't know like how to bounce between them at times, but it was a prominent time to establish. So Azumi and Thekla, like I wish it went a little longer. It kind of like shocked me. It kind of finished quick out of nowhere. I thought they were moving in there kind of good together, but some of it looked a little like sometimes the move, like obviously is quote unquote coordinated or whatever, but sometimes the explosion, like, you know, it just kind of goes and it's just natural and smooth. It just looked like there was something like a little not right. Like, I didn't like go nuts over this match like Azumi and Natsupoi or something, but it was good. Azumi breaking out that I think it was some type of double arm bar where Thekla was on her face. Or Tekla was on her face, and it was interesting. Tekla came in with the dark hair, liked the look, a little bit different from the Luna Vachon like blonde. But after that,
did I tell you that I thought of that with her before, or is it just like I guess that's a thing?
I think it's a thing. Yeah.
Okay, because I was just like I used to see her and be like, is this like a Luna Vachon thing, and why? But whatever.
SWA match, loved it. I thought Fukigen Death was about to shock the world. I was rooting for her to shock the world. She did not, unfortunately. See, I got Fukigen Death here, like on the hanging from the microphone. You know, give Mayu Itani the small heart attack that she was about to, you know, drop the belt to Death, but Death couldn't hit the moonsault. I was sending audio messages to James during this and wilding out. So you know, hopefully Dave watches this match. And it was, you know, 5 minutes of fury, essentially 4:59 it clocked in at.
Yeah.
Tag match, Team James victorious over Miyu, Emasaki, and Utami. Oh my God. This was them beating the fuck out of like this rookie. I don't know, like I hate to ask this question, right? Like with Kairi and Tam, it's almost like, why are they together? Like I don't know. Like,
seemingly, Kairi wanted a match. Seemingly, like I can't speak for kayfabe, I can't speak for real life, but like the kayfabe reason seems to be that like Kairi wanted a match with Utami and wanted a match with Amasaki, and then she basically was like, hey, Rossi, get me a match with Tam. And Tam was like, well, I really actually want to face you in a singles match, but you asked nicely, so I'll come along with it. So then they came up with a tag name, and then they're like bonding over the fact that like they were quote unquote chosen by the white belt or whatever else, and they're almost like the guardians of the prestige of the white belt or whatever the fuck. So from there, you know, they doled out that punishment.
I was wondering with Kairi, like she wasn't in Queen's Quest, was she?
No. Queen's Quest is Io's thing,
right?
And then she left. Io left, and then it was Momo and Azumi and no, I'm sorry, but I'm not gonna get into the whole dynamics of all that. But basically, long story short, it was almost like well, you don't watch X-Men. I was gonna say it's like Xavier's School for Gifted Youngsters. You don't know what that means, but basically, like. It was Io was getting frustrated with Mayu being in one of those weird losing streaks she was on as an underdog babyface at the time. Turned on her, brought back Kazuki, who was gone from the company at the time from like 2000, I want to say 14 or 15 until come back at the end of 2016. says, I'm starting, basically, I'm done with you, Mayu. You're a fucking loser. I've just decided in the middle of the match. I'm tired of you. And tag league final, and says, like, I have a young protege with me who's back, and you see in the mask, like, it's clearly Hazuki. And then, like, in the subsequent matches later, like, Momo turns on Mayu. She joins Queen's Quest. At this point, she's 16. In, like, I think either, like, the very beginning of 2017, Momo tears her ACL in practice or whatever else, and then they're like, they scramble to look around like, what are we gonna do? All right, we'll have Azumi add in. So, like, in the show, she asks Io to join Queen's Quest, and then, like, it's those three, and then they hold on until Momo comes back, and then, like, eventually they get, like, Viper to add on to be, like, the UK version of or chapter of Queen's Quest, and that's how you end up getting B and Chardonnay, and you never seen Chardonnay, but B was a part of that, and that catch you up to speed. Oh, then, Io leaves, puts over Momo, Utami debuts, joins Queen's Quest in the middle of the Grand Prix. Momo, Utami, tag champions. That catches you up from when we started watching.
Yeah. So I don't know. I'm just wondering, like, when I guess I'm saying, like, maybe this TAM thing is like something that's going to happen, but, like,
they're building towards a match down the line with them, probably like the year-end thing.
I was wondering, like, when she would get around Mayu, like, when Kairi would get around Mayu. Yeah.
Who knows?
I'm like, I'm trying to say, is there, like, old history there? Like, that's why I was, like, kind of,
as far as beef, no.
Gotcha.
No, it's been nothing but friendship with them. Like, well, aside from the very beginning, like, cause, Io or, Kairi's a little older than Mayu. Like, Mayu is what, 29, I think.
Oh, yeah, 29.
Yeah, 29, or Kairi's what, 33, 34. Yeah. So when Kairi debuted, she debuted like a year, like, she debuted in 2012, right? So she was in the second class of the dojo. Mayu was in the first class. But, like, at the beginning of Stardom, they broke down into an age related, like, faction. So, like, Kairi was in the older group, Mayu was in the younger group, and then they had matches, whatever else. But, like, pretty much after that, like, from 2000, based from when Nanai and Yoshiko leave, like, they basically just, like, they look around and, like, we've lost so much talent, and, like, we have to bring in all these foreigners, and, like, we're just going to put all the belts on Io, Kairi, and Mayu and make them a faction, call them Freedom, or the $3 to Stardom, /Freedom, and, like, they'll carry us from 2015 to 17 until, like, Jungle and Starlight Kid and whatever else gets a little bit better. And then from there, like, Kairi leaves, Io leaves, and by that point in time, like, the people that they were holding on to be the bridge people to get, or count on them to, hold those three to hold up until they get good enough, like Jungle and Momo, they get good enough, and then the rest is history.
Yeah. But, like, in this match, like, I think they beat the fuck out of Miyu and Masaki, and Utami kind of just, like, was in and out of spots, just kind of like, I guess I'm here to watching you get your ass beat. But they were setting that hot tag. I mean, you never saw this match, but it reminded me so much of, like, the 1 week when Kairi and Asuka showed up to defend the women's titles versus Tegan and Dakota, and I remember, like, saying, like, yo, they're gonna beat the fuck out of them. And then that whole match is like 17 minutes or something like that, like close to over 15 minutes of them, like, going through 2 commercial breaks, beating the fuck out of them. And then at the end, they get a little comeback, and then Asuka blows the miss in one of their faces and beats them, but they beat the fuck out of the whole match. Like, this match reminded me of that, except it was, like, in Stardom, and, like, it is just one person getting the beating. It's not both of them. And I was just sitting there just enjoying the hell out of it. And, like, for me, watching, like, just straight up, like, them, doing the,
you're not on my level. Beat the shit out of you until you fight back, and then once you fight back, I'm gonna beat the shit out of you some more. Like, it was fun, and like Kyrie was like the whole time just waiting. You know, they built
having flashbacks.
Yeah, they beat that hot. They beat. You know, they built a hot tag for Utami. Tommy comes in, and you get to Utami and Kyrie, which is, you know, a big potential match. And like after this match, like Kyrie says she wants a match with Utami, so they're setting that up down the line too. But like it was fun for me to watch, just in like it ended up being a very good match. Even with it just being, you know, more or less just completely one sided, or more or less like almost like a handicap match for Utami to try to fight back against these two, you know, top stars.
Yeah, and after the match, it was pretty funny. Like I didn't need to know the language. I didn't need to understand. You know, I was watching Kyrie talk, and I actually sent James the following audio messages. You know, where I interpreted Kyrie saying. So I'm watching the post match for Kyrie and Tam. I'm just reading the verbal cues and all that of what Kyrie looked like she giving out. She basically saying pro wrestling is hard, and yeah, you a young rookie, and we're gonna beat your ass until you get tough. And if you ever step in the ring with that soft shit against me again, the same shit gonna happen to your bitch ass. That's what it looked like for me. And I will do it in front of all these people and keep embarrassing your ass. Now stand up and get the fuck out my ring.
So,
that's what I thought. You know,
so,
you know, that has to be the 100% translation. You know?
And it's funny because like you're over 80% correct, like of what happened. Actually, she said it like so, and I told you this like so. At the press conference, Amasaki wasn't there, but the other three were. So Kyrie congratulated Utami on becoming the official leader of Queen's Quest. She won a 5-way elimination match. It was actually really good by the end. To become the official leader of Queen's Quest ever since, because they hadn't had an official leader since Momo, you know, departed. So, or joined Queen's Quest, whatever you want to call it. So, not Queen's Quest, but Oedo Tai. So anyway, she's like, congratulations. So where's Amasaki? And she's like, well, you know, she's been going through some things, so she couldn't make it, unfortunately. So then she's like, so you haven't been going soft on her. You haven't been going easy on her. Have you? Like, you ain't been slacking on, you know, discipline, you know, not discipline, but like, you know, training. And like, it goes down his list, and Utami was like, look, things are different. Like, she didn't go through like the pain and the tears that like us three did, but she's doing perfectly fine. And then like Kyrie goes like,
start getting a flashback.
She goes, this is a picture of me. This is a picture of me early in my career, and it shows a picture like from what I can presume is like her 2014 Grand Prix match with Nanai, where like she beats Nanai, and the match is great. But like Nanai swells up half her face in the match, right? And she talks about how like when she was a rookie, her debut match, she had a bloody nose, and she thought that she looked like a dork or whatever else. And she said, but she's proud of those moments because that's what made her who she was and gave her the strength to fight through so much stuff in the middle of a ring. And you know, I think of like obviously the matches I've seen her over the years, and like, you know, like even the semifinal of the Mae Young Classic where like she does that dive on Toni Storm, and like Toni Storm is a fully catcher, and she ends up banging her head against the grate, and you can see great marks on her face, and she had a concussion, and she was gonna like, and if the paper, you know, if the but if the final of the Mae Young Classic had been 1 week earlier, she might not have passed some concussion protocol, right? Stuff like that. She continued through that fight or that match. Anyway, I said fight, but she says that's what made me who I am, and like she's like I don't regret any of that or whatever else, and I think you kind of need that to be like as good as we all became or whatever else, and talking about like Tam and Utami and herself, and so like this match sets up, and she's like she just beats the brakes off of her, and then at the end says like she asked her to pro match, and after the match, like she walks up to her, you know, kneels down to Umasaki, who's like laid out, and she's like, or on the ground, and she's like, how do you feel now? And then Amasaki like kind of mutters like, I'm in a lot of pain, or feel very pain, and like Kyrie's like, what's that? She goes like, I'm really painful right now, and then like Kyrie goes, yeah, wrestling is painful. You get your ass kicked. Like it's very painful. Like fans see you lose and struggle, and like they get behind you because they see you lose and struggle. And when you see you do better, like pro wrestling's awesome. And then she yells out all that and stuff. And it was like Kyrie is trying. Kyrie wants to keep handing down this tradition. And then you told me like she wants to keep the recipes. Like, you're an idiot.
Yep.
but yeah, I
want to pass on that generational trauma, that she had to deal with.
Passing down the hazing, right?
Yeah.
So, like, keep in mind, like, she still loves Nana to death. Like, every time they ever, like, in the same building, they taking pictures together.
Most people do love the people that beat them up.
You stupid as shit for that. So that was that match. So then you get the final three matches, and like the final three matches are like the three best matches on the card. Trios match between Mahimapoi. They were trying to set the defense record. They already tied it. They were trying to set the defense record that they had tied with Cosmic Angels at, I think it's 7, versus Saki, Momo, and Starlight Kid. And this match is awesome. Like, they just they're in and out doing crazy things. They set up about a couple weeks before then. They set up like the dynamic of is Natsupoi and Starlight Kid. Starlight Kid wants Natsupoi's blue belt. Saki is there having to fend off Mecha in the like beginnings matchups, and then you have Micah and Momo naturally playing off of some of the interactions from last year and also their Grand Prix match from 2020. So at the end, I remember I was saying on the previews, like, you have your belt, belt change, like alarms of if you see you see that closing stretch, you see Natsupoi in there with Saki because they're gonna get her ass right out of there with that fucking crucifix pin. And sure enough, like she countered out of one attempt at it, and then by the end she had her down, and I was like, yep, she's done. And sure enough, gets her up to try to beat her with another move, and then Saki wiggles out, gets her on her, gets Natsupoi on the ground with that fucking crucifix pin and gets the win. I gave it 4 flat stars. I thought it was great. Like, that's gotta be, well, I think that has to be the best Saki match I've ever seen. But yeah, like they
saw
pulled off
someone. It may have been JD. I'm not sure. I think he called Saki the Robert Horry of Stardom.
I don't even know what that means. But sure, why not? Like, she is a bit of an unsung hero to where, like, it depends on like how they deploy her and who she's with, and like you can vacillate between thinking like either she's not good or she is good, but like she doesn't really get much time to prove it. And I think like her right now as like the number 3 for Oedo Tai right now, like she's doing a lot better than it was when she was like even the number 2 in Oedo Tai when Nazca was around. Like I forgot who I messaged this, but I was like, I think it might have been JML, and I said like, look man, like Starlight Kid and Momo, like they cleaning up Gotham City. They got a lot of it. They got a lot of this trash off the streets when they both showed up and got together in Oedo Tai, because like there's interference in their matches, but like it's early, it happens one time, or it plays, or it's very minimal. Like it's very light compared to any of the other wrestling you watch. Like it's not House of Torture. It's not like Adam Cole. It's not like the 20th Adam Cole match you've seen in 2022. Like it is a spot here, a spot there. Fuck with the ref or pull the ref. And then by the end, like you don't feel like you've been cheated on a win or a loss, and you feel like you saw the better team win at the end of it. Like because like ultimately with Stardom is like, yes, they're a heel faction. They're the longest running heel faction in the company, but they're not like trying to get you disinterested in seeing them ever wrestle. Like they're trying to sell merch too. Like at some point when Kagetsu and Hazuki retired, Nascator fucking forgot that, but now we're back on track. So yeah, like I like it. I also like the idea that because of what it sets up at the end of after the semi-main event, where it's like you look at Starlight Kid's year, She came into the year as a high-speed champion. Then she transitioned over, and now she was the tag team champion, and now she's trio champion. She's had 3 different belts this year. And we'll get to the rest in a second. But so main event, I thought was the best match on the show. Kamitani versus Mirai.
Great things about this.
Mirai is the Cinderella tournament winner. She won it. Her wish was to challenge for the white belt. Man, like 24, 25 minutes. Let me look this up. Let's see what it was.
25:01.
Okay, 25 minutes. And like this match is, I know, last week you heard me say like about you referred to me as bag Twitter earlier about talking about Arisu Hoshiki, and like this is the stuff that like I wanted to see out of Hoshiki and see her, add dimensions to her game. Like obviously, like if you want to say like the flipping and the kicks are the same thing between Arisa and Kamitani, like Kamitani, like you can look through the TAM stuff, you can look at the high speed stuff with Natsupoi, you can look at the stuff with Mirai, the stuff with even Micah this year, even the stuff with maybe less so the stuff with the match she had with Utami, because like that was kind of that's their match. That's the match they have. She beats her down. She comes back with her Karanas and whatever else, and then ultimately loses, but she won that time. Anyway, the mat work and the different mat work and her working a body part, and then getting to or even selling the body part, and then eventually getting to that stuff, like it feels so much. It just works better. It flows better. It makes more sense. There's more diversity to what she does. Like she still does her stuff. She's still gonna do a springboard dive to the floor. She's still gonna do a spinning heel kick. She's still gonna do the round off into a drop kick. All that stuff off and running off the ropes or being whipped into the ropes. But like as a tactician, she seems like a smarter wrestler, or in kayfabe, like a smarter fighter. That's what she feels like watching her stuff. So she goes to work on Mirai's back. Mirai struggles to try to fight back, and like this whole match is based off like Mirai's really good at fighting from underneath. She has a fire. She has a charisma that I don't even think could be like defined at this point, because like the way the crowd is behind her, this ain't just like some normal any old babyface in Stardom. Yeah, they behind her, but like doing all the claps and stuff, and matches starting, and like they clapping for her over a person that's giving nothing but great matches, and it's everything the company wants out of a top star. Like, so she starts out and she get back mat wrestling, and she's getting beat, or Kamitani's getting beaten, out wrestled by Mirai naturally, and then works on Mirai's back, gets on top. Mirai has to fight from underneath. She catches up. She even passes by Kamitani, had Kamitani on the ropes. I think she hits their finish, the Miramare shock, the base, like the spinning Michinoku driver deal. Or Falcon Arrow, however you want to call it. It's basically like have you in a fireman's carry position, spins around, then drops you like a Michinoku driver sit out deal. Gets her back up. And then Kamitani like slips behind and hits a reverse Rana to even the odds. And then from there, like Mirai gets one last little shot to try to put her away. Kamitani overcomes it, gets the hits the Star Crusher, then hits the Phoenix Splash, and like for 25 minutes, like I'm just like. Both of these people, I think, debuted in 2019 in wrestling. And they just had a 24, 25 minute, like 4.25 star, maybe even 4.5 star match. And I was like, Kamitani, like, she's doing all the things I want her to do. Like, it's one thing to have, what you do, and then, but also to have like your matches also feel different from time to time, or depending on the opponent or whatever else. And like, she's done it. And like, People have to look up and be like, hey, is she in the middle of the greatest white belt run title reign? Because, like, match to match, like, people tell me about, like, the Momo stuff, but, like, there were some misses in that. Like, the Arisa run, like, there were her fighting Gaijins that didn't work. Like, the Utami match was weird. The B match was almost great. I wouldn't say it was great though. But you look at her, like, right now, like, she wins the belt in like a 4.5 star, if people want to say it's 4 3/4, I would disagree, but people rate it that high, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then the match she gets a weak challenger in Unagi and then gets it to 3 3/4. Then she has the 4 1/4 star match with Natsupoi, then has a 4-star match with Utami, then has arguably a 4 3/4 star match with Tam, and then then you get the the Micah match where she goes like 25 minutes with Micah, and like that's the best match those two have ever had. Like, it's like 4 1/4. It's very similar. It's very close to this. Yeah, I already mentioned Utami one. And then you get this, and it's like, all right, now this is I think this is V6.
Mm-hmm.
She ain't missed yet.
7.
7?
7. Oh, excuse me. No, this is 6. My fault.
Yeah. I mentioned the title change doesn't count as a victory, but yeah, like, I think she's killing it, and like, the person I wanted her to drop the belt to is facing her, and is like, I think it's too soon. I wish this was like, if this was after Grand Prix, if this was the fall, I'd be like, perfect. You can just move on to whatever else. But after the match, Kamitani wins, and out comes Kid, and Kid is like, I'm thinking this the same thing I thought about earlier. I mentioned, like, came in as a high speed champion, won the tag belts, is a trios champion, she won 3 belts. This could be a 4th. They really do like, dual wielding, white belt champions. Whether that was Julia in 2020 with the blue trios belt, whether that was Tam with the winning the white belt with the blue trios belt. This would be another version of that. And like, there's no wrong decision whenever they do this, because like, obviously, eventually, Starlight Kid needs to have that fucking belt. But at the same time, it's like, it ain't the worst thing if Kamitani were to lose it, because, like, quite frankly, the way she's been run it, she needs to be a fucking red belt champion the next 2 years.
Yeah, I'm with you. I always figured Starlight Kid would win the white belt at some point this year. I think they're gonna switch it here and then start the I hate to say this word, the grooming process for Kamitani at the very top. Of course, like, there's a lot of people out there for her to face. Like, I can't remember her, and maybe it happened in the Grand Prix, but I don't think her and Julia were in the same block.
The only time they ever wrestled, the only time they ever had a single match was the 2020 Grand Prix, when it's like, she was a geek at that point. She only won like 17 matches that year.
So she still got like another like mountain of people, I think, to kind of work through. But yeah, I think you're on point as far as like, her trajectory.
You never saw her. Oh my God, you would love this fucking match. I love it. Like, I think it's my second favorite. No, at this point, my third favorite Kamitani match. But like, her match with Shuri and Knight. It's night 1. Yeah, night 1 of the Grand Prix last year. That match is so fucking good. Like, it gets to a point where it gets to a slap battle, open hand slapping the shit out of each other, and they bringing that shit way back here. And like, in my mind, watching it is almost like she slaps the shit out of Kamitani over and over and over again, and then like, Kamitani has to return it back, and then like, Shuri is almost like making a face like, she goes down to a knee and she grin her teeth, and she's like, "Don't go out to this fucking dancer. Do not get."
I remember that.
Do not get dropped. I did watch that. That match was fucking awesome. Like, they've only had that one match. Like, there's plenty of room for her. And keep in mind, like, so she's 25. She's not as young as Starlight Kid or Azumi or whatever else. Like, there is a window on this compared to whatever. Right. So like, they want to make it so like she's done enough to show improve over the last literally year at this point that like, or 13 months, 14 months, whatever, that like she not only can she should be considered red belt material now that she's had this successful run. And like 6 is enough. Like, I mean, Tam and Julia both had 6 defenses. So like, I would love for her to stay where she is and like for like a few more months and get a couple more defenses in. That'd be fine. But like, she's not going to get to 13. That's Momo's defense record. She's not going to come hold the belt that damn long. So like,
too much talent here.
Too much talent. Transition her out. It gives you a chance to like get off cycle with, because they changed the red and white belt in the same show. Gives you a chance to get changed over to all that. And then also it's like, do you really want Kamatani to be the white belt champion where like you go into the Grand Prix and you do a bunch of
beat her
and you got to do a bunch of jobs and then you quote unquote get it back by beating the red belt champion? Because they do that every year. Like 2019, Arisa lost a shit ton of matches that, like, while watching, I was like, what the fuck? And then she beats Kagetsu. Or not Kagetsu, but B. Then 2020, Julia took a bunch of L's and then beat Mayu. Last year, Tam took a bunch of L's and then beat Utami. Like, I kind of don't want to see Kamatani eat a bunch of L's at this point. Like, they need to be focusing on, like, hey, we don't know how much longer, like, a big part of the year was, like, Shuri, Kamatani, we have fed you the other 2/3 of this top 6 we're making to include you in it. Like, lose a white belt, fine. Now you're in the pack and can be, could possibly, finish top 2 or whatever else in the Grand Prix or whatever else. Like, yep. I think that's the route to go. Is like, all right, you've done great with this, and now you've done so good with it. Now we need to track you higher. But
Team Saya.
Yeah. So then
she needs to face Giant Saya at some point too.
Sure. I wouldn't mind that. Like, I think that'll happen in the Grand Prix or whatever else. Cause Saya or Ida, Giant Saya is on, for some reason, she's in the qualifying tournament. I'm like, well, she was in 2020, and 2, like, there's no way she's not going to be in it. It's almost like, like she's in between, but like she's so much higher than everyone else is in there. Like the second person in there in ranking would probably be like Roaka. Like, I've seen her beat Roaka. Like, I've seen
quit playing.
Yeah. Like, whatever. They want to get her some more reps or whatever else, or put people that are more veteran in there in the tournament just to make sure the tournament's not a disaster. The qualifying tournament's not a disaster. Fine, but that's the only reason why you're doing this. Like, yeah. Anyway, the main event, Shuri versus Risa Sera. Now, this match is a no DQ, KO, or submission only match. And man, this match started out as a normal match, and then the kendo stick came out, and then it descended to, then it broke out into basically like a WWF like main event, pull out all the stops match. Like, the only thing that didn't happen was a barricade didn't break. Like, they had, keep in mind, Ami was on the pre-show. Mariah had just lost. They had a busted up arm, so she's in the back licking her wounds. So, it is, in the third act, you have all of, prominence out there, and they do a run-in. And the only person out there is Ami, and Ami, she does a whole bunch of she ends up taking out a bunch of them at ringside, including Risa. But like, then she runs to the end, and like, it was basically heavy versus heavy, and they basically stalemate after all the shoulder tackles at the end. And then by that, they gave Risa, and they start tussling. They gave Risa enough time after she got shoulder tackled to get up with the kendo stick and whack her, and they go back to Shuri. And then like, man, there's a air raid crash off the apron to the floor. There is a kendo stick shot to the head. There's a punt kick to the head that looked like Shuri fucking murdered Risa Sera. Like, the match was great. Like, the only negative to this match is that it didn't go longer. Like, the match only went like, did it even go 15 minutes?
Yeah, barely 15 minutes.
Yeah.
14:29.
Yeah, and I was expecting, like, you know, because the match, it built like a match, like a Shuri match was going to go 20 minutes. So I was kind of, you know, at the pace it was going, I was like, okay, it's going to go 20 minutes. And then, like, in the 15, I was like, damn, I really would have liked more. Like, it's a great match, but I think that if they had, like, 3 to 5 more minutes, like, it gets even better, because they did some wild shit for a match. Because, you know, like, Shuri doesn't really do that stuff. But basically, by the end, she used the kendo stick so much, and, like, or in the middle of the match, they used the kendo stick so much that, like, Shuri had enough, and, like, when Risa went for, like, the kill shot over the top, Shuri caught it with one arm, took it out of her hand, snatched from her, and then broke the shit over her knee and was like, no, fuck that. We back to the traditional fighting. Enough of the cheating. Is back to this fist.
And once fighting.
Yeah, you've been using that stick and you've been kicking my ass, but once I get rid of this stick, it's gonna be me and you. I'm gonna put your ass to sleep. She ends up slapping on the sleeper.
Risa Sera need to change her theme music to that stick.
So basically at the end, Shuri starts whooping her ass basically after the kendo stick gets removed from the picture, and the cheating gets cut off, and slaps in a sleeper hold and doesn't let go. And then Mushi Natsumi, used to be Mushi Miyagi, I don't know why she changed her name, Prominence, she throws in the towel and Shuri wins by stoppage. So at the end, Shuri says to Risa, like, look, we got a long history, but I had enough of you in this fucking stick. If you want to match with me to figure out who's actually the best without this fucking kendo stick, come run it. I'll run it again with you, whatever. So, at the end, Momo comes out and she's the next red belt challenger, and that match is going to be awesome.
I dropped that stick in the comment section for anybody.
Yeah, but yeah, man, the final 3 matches, all great matches, and like with you mentioned you mentioned your perspective on the other match, but I'm kind of with you. Like the Hand and Rocker match, not 3 stars, probably 2 3/4. The Cosmic Angels versus Prominence match, really enjoyed watching Suzu beat the shit out of Waka. Waka's fighting with all her heart, and Suzu's just giving it to her, and I'm just like, I can't wait till she's in Grand Prix, because she's in Grand Prix this year. Risa and Suzu both. It's gonna be fun. Azumi Tekla, like, I love the match. It's one of those matches where, like, if it went like 90 seconds, 2 minutes longer, I'd give it 4 stars. Like, I thought that the work that, I like the part where it wasn't a full on high speed match. It broke down into, it has high speed elements, but it's more of a match than a high speed match. And like, because of the way they worked and sold body part damage or whatever else, it makes sense that it's not a high speed match. Cause like, you're really going to work over Mazumi's leg, and she's going to keep running around at the speed of light again. That's dumb. But, I really like Tekla in the high speed division, and I thought that like some of the stuff that Azumi did to Tekla's arms were just like gross. Like she slapped on a Rings of Saturn, and then like moved her, and then Azumi was so pissed off with her wanting to finish the match, and this should be her super submission finisher, but she didn't use it. She got out of it, and she like crossed her arms. Like, imagine cross your arms in front of you like you're gonna hug yourself, except she did it behind her backwards, and she kept jostling the arms back and forth, and I was like, oh my god, she's gonna break this woman. And she made the ropes, and then she ended up beating her with the numero uno, her normal crazy, her standard nasty arm submission. Azumi's fucking awesome. Tekla's damn good. Let's see, Mayu versus Death is about as good a 5-minute match as you're gonna see this year. Like, with comedy involved,
fucking hilarious.
Just great for 3, 4, 5 minutes, and then back to the top of the card the top of the last stretch of the card with the Kyrie match. We didn't mention this match, but the tag team title match between FWC Hazuki and Kaguma versus Julia and Mai Sakurai. I like Hazuki being like really, really mean and nasty with and brawly and whatever else with Julia. The stuff at the end, the closing stretch, where basically Kaguma is basically going the long way around to get her win back from Mai, is fine. But I love Hazuki basically kind of like breaking out the pink and black attack that she used to be in Oedo Tower. She's like just hair whipping the shit out of people and brawling in the crowd. I missed it. But yeah, that match was also very good. People like it more than I did, but I gave it 3.5. But that's the show. That is the event. One of the best shows of the year. Like, up and down, like blows away the AEW pay-per-view. But like, I still think that that last half of AEW's pay-per-view like really saved it. That would have been bad. That'd been rough if they because they've never had a full-on stinker. But the way you watch that first 2 hours of that show, you were like, oh my god, they're about to have a stinker. Mm-hmm. But luckily, they saved the day at the end. But yeah, like ultimately, the last half of Double or Nothing and this whole entire show, like it was a great weekend of wrestling to watch. Like, I'm just gonna forget the first 2 hours of Double or Nothing. You know, remember this weekend fondly.
So we had a couple announcements break during the show. So Cole and Jeff Hardy, as we mentioned, were out of the match Wednesday, the 5-man tags. So Darby Allin was added to the Good Guys team, and Hikuleo was added to the Elite team. So
okay,
Forbidden Doors on the horizon. So I would imagine some folks are going to be rolling in. Like I said, I want to see some people show up to New Japan. I want to see some guys show up. Oh, and you didn't catch it last week, but Okan and Cobb jumped out on Dynamite last week.
So that's why Okan was in Vegas for all the pictures I saw.
Yes, and so then Okan went to Vegas and lost his goddamn mind.
So this man showed up on AEW television and decided to go ride dick. Okay, good for him. Them pictures was wild. The pictures the pictures with the ladies on the street. And I'm saying it that way because I don't know. I'm just saying they were in fact at face value women that were on the street. And yeah, he was wilding out there. And then that man rode a mechanical bull in the shape of a penis.
Yes, epic night for the great Okan. So
he was in. Because wasn't he in Rev Pro when he was doing his,
Yeah.
Why he act like he ain't never been nowhere before?
He probably hasn't. He probably hasn't. That man was in the dojo.
Like,
repressed.
You think there's much to do around York Hall in London?
Like, this is a long way from cooking the Chonko, you know.
This man did all that and all that stuff. He didn't find
the streets ain't safe when Okan comes around.
So keep in mind about Okan.
He's getting whooped.
So Okan was there, right? He was doing guest commentary on the Stardom show.
He must flew back.
Yeah, he flew back. But he did all that stuff, right? But in the meantime, he never thought I should. You know what? They have good barbers in America. I should probably go see one to take care of my situation. He said, nah, I'm finna go to America and then come back looking like that.
With the braid.
On pay-per-view.
Yeah, Shout out to the great Okan,
I will never get how this dude has he has there's no way he doesn't cut his own hair. There's no way.
Yeah, he's got a very unique hairstyle. Like
you're being really nice. You're being really, really nice. Like you must think that it's like a cultural thing, don't you?
Yeah, I was gonna say maybe something I don't understand.
Look, I'm willing to upon learning something different from this. I'm willing to backtrack on this and apologize 100%. And I'm not gonna say but or however. I'm just gonna move on. I have watched tons of Japanese wrestling with fans sitting at ringside. I have never seen no uneven ass haircut like that before.
No, you haven't seen a civilian show up with this?
No. And I'm not even talking about like the ponytail. I'm just talking about like if you have a low cut, the low cut is even. Whereas like if you got a 1, if you gotta close guard one, you gotta close guard one everywhere unless it's like some type of fake situation along the line where obviously the grades change, right? The hair length changes. This man does not have that. That man has, it looks like he like fucks with the guard and opens it up as he just zoom, and then open it and close it, open and close it. So it's like, it's not patchy, but it's like, yo, why does this all look like a mess?
One day.
And he ain't got no line. And
line optional.
Look, now the line could be a cultural thing. Because the line is a cultural thing here, right?
Yeah.
So I'm not really gonna get him on the line. I'm just saying the line is non-existent, and then including the non-existent line, the grade of the hair in length keeps changing from the side to the top to the front, and there ain't no fade. What kind of fade this is?
This is something new, James. This man putting something new out for the streets. Setting trends. Follow the great Okan. He wears his hair how he wants to wear his hair.
I ain't got nothing else, man.
Yeah.
Because if I go any further, I might be hopping into problematic territory. I may have already hopped into problematic territory. If I have, y'all hit me up, let me know. I'll apologize. But I'm calling it like I see it from now. I'm not making an observation about our brothers and sisters over there in general. I'm just making a conversation about this particular brother's haircut, because this is wild. This is outrageous. I ain't never seen nothing like this before.
Oh man. Yeah. Good times. But yeah, that'll wrap it up, man.
All right. So thanks for listening to the show. That's the end of the show. Be sure to rate us on whatever app you're using to listen to this with. If you are listening from the live stream on Twitch, look at the logos. You see the Pay app, the Cash app. You see the PayPal. Go to there to drop us off donations. If you're listening from the podcast, go to our red circle in the description below and drop us off a donation. And be sure to listen to other shows on the network. Besides which radio, you have Keepin It Strong Style, the Ricky and Clive Wrestling Podcast, Grown Men Watch This Shit, the Grave Consequences Podcast, 8-Bit Suplex, All Things Elite, Great Match Generator, Get in the Ring, Meet the Press Slam, and All Elite Wrestling Match Guide. Thanks for listening. I'm sorry, AEW Match Guide. You done put the whole thing. I just get it right. AEW Match Guide. Thanks for listening, y'all. Later.
Peace.
Introducing Under Armour's Infinity High Sports Bra. Its ergonomic design is molded to support the natural movement of your body. With cord-out padding, the better breathability eliminates extra bulk without sacrificing support. And quick-dry padding is Under Armour's fastest-drying padding yet. When you're lifting heavy, running fast, and pushing yourself further than ever before, you need a bra that will help you go that extra mile and make you feel your best. Shop the Infinity High Sports Bra now at UA.com.
Your plans? Today it's dinner with the parents at your spot.
We gotta come back here.
Now, their spot. Or you're on the edge of your seat at the game.
Come on, just one time.
And it's the one. Or maybe you're catching the next flight to...
Now boarding flight 1850.
Oh, that's you. The choice is yours. And when you're with Amex, it's not if it's going to happen, but when. American Express. Don't live life without it.